And Bock, coming at you live from Coppel Chevrolet GMC Studios in the heart of Lincoln, America, on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here are your hosts, Tom Stevens.
I always tell people, I just hope they see a guy that loves what he does.
Jake Bockoven.
I didn't get any stupider, I know that. I have never been very smart.
Tom and Bock starts now.
Welcome in, kids. We're back on a Monday. It's Tom and Bock. Bock is back from Denver, Colorado. Can you say that on the air? Are you okay saying that?
Yeah. No, actually, we went most of the time was spent in Colorado Springs.
Ooh, Colorado
been
Springs. Oh, I just assumed you were going to Denver.
Yeah, we went through Denver.
What happened in Colorado Springs?
Oh, not too much.
No. So you don't want to say what went on this weekend.
No, it was a good weekend. I added a few pounds, unfortunately, which means, you take your vacation weekends, you just eat whatever you can.
What are you weighing these days?
Almost, like 192.
You're not 192, are you really?
I am. There's a lot of muscle here as well. Though, right?
You're just all solid muscle. I didn't realize you were that big.
Yeah.
You look like I think we're the same weight. When I look at you, I think that's about what I weigh.
Yeah. What do you weigh?
I'm a 170 guy. I graduated from high school at 120.
Wow.
I could have been a supermodel.
Yeah, apparently.
I tried to gain weight, to be on the football team. They just said, "You're not big enough." I mean, where are we gonna put you? What can you do for us?
I think you can help.
How can you help? And so they said, "You know what? You're a decent swimmer. I've heard you're a decent swimmer. Go out for swimming.
Yeah.
Play a little golf. You're not a good golfer, but play golf." And Lincoln High was not great in golf, so I got on the golf team, and I did swim. So those were my sports, and we finished 5th in state in swimming.
Well, because of you.
No, Aaron Drake. Aaron Drake was the.
But you were on the team.
I was on the team, so that's all good.
We're number 5.
Hey, that might have been the highest finish for a Lincoln High athletic program. I don't know. I'd have to go back and check the records, but they made a big deal.
It's not historically a very good swimming team, then.
No, I've never known Lincoln High to be good in swimming. They weren't good before Aaron Drake got there. Then when he got there, they were good, and then when he left, they weren't good again. I mean, that's kind of what happens with Lincoln High sports. It was an interesting weekend in college and the NFL. Of course, Nebraska did not win their game.
No,
but I do want to know from you guys on the text line 464-5685. Where are you as a Nebraska football fan? Because I felt like last week coming out of that Oklahoma game, 23-16, you were encouraged. You were really encouraged. And then you were like, let's just take the next step and finish. Let's finish one of these games. And Nebraska, it looked like they were going to finish.
Yeah.
All they have to do is get a first down, which would have made me feel much better. And 3rd and 4, they ran a quarterback draw, which we all called.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew
they love running that play.
They love running that play, and we all knew it. And
it works sometimes. To be fair, they picked up a few first downs.
It works because they've got an elite athlete in Adrian Martinez, and but it's not working because of the offensive line and the blocking.
No.
But I don't have a big problem with that call because you don't want to throw a pick in that situation. I get it. You don't want to make a big mistake in that, and the averages say that Adrian could get 4 yards and you keep the drive alive and the game's probably over if he gets that first down. Instead, you punt it. The punt, as we know, was supposed to go right. Instead, it went left. Reed takes it 62 yards later. You're just going, what the hell just happened?
Yeah.
They went from, they're going to win this game. They're dominating this game. Michigan State doesn't have a first down in the freaking second half. Kenneth Walker looks like, some Walker that you've never met. JJ Walker. You don't know who JJ Walker is. At Dynamite. But you've done a great job defensively. You're going to win that game, and then the punt return happens, and you're just like, you feel like the Lions felt after the Justin Tucker kick.
Yeah.
That of course you're going to lose.
Well, the game wasn't over then. You definitely felt like the game was over.
You felt like all the momentum is with them, and it's going to take something special for Nebraska to win this game. So I that's where I want to start with Nebraska football. Is where are you? Are you encouraged? Because I could see that. I know fans that are. You'd have to be pretty optimistic to still be encouraged when you thought you were going to win and you didn't win.
Well, back to back, top 25 opponents that you're playing within a possession of.
Right.
So I think on the grand stage,
but
you got to feel
you felt
better.
like, okay, you didn't make the big mistake other than kicking again. I mean, kicking is
they
just
made a lot of big mistakes.
okay. They yeah, you're right. But you were like, that's the number 3 team in the country. That's a team that will be in the college football playoff. You played them in Norman. The 50th anniversary of the game of the century. You felt good about it because we all thought, Oklahoma 22.5. They're going to win probably by 30. And most of us did pick that. Michigan State, they were picked at 3, then it went to 5. And I think by game time, it was right around 3.5. So you felt like this was kind of a coin flip game, a winnable game. We all said this was the winnable game before the season. I don't think any of us knew that Michigan State would be that good or as good as they've been, certainly undefeated. I didn't think that was possible for Michigan State. Oklahoma, none of us had counted that as a win. Michigan State, different story. And then when you had it looked like in the win column and you lose that. I mean, that's a gut punch. That is tough to take. That is really tough to take.
It is really tough to take, and I think throughout the season we're just going to always look back at that Illinois loss because it's just the same thing. I mean, you could stomach 3-2 and losing the 2 top 25 opponents and playing within a possession of them. Even if you throw it away, you're going, wow, at least this program's heading in the right direction. But that Illinois loss spins it. Now you're 2-3. And the way you look at games might change a little bit. You should be 3-2, and then you should have won that one, so you should be 4-1. I know some people are saying they should be 5-0. I wouldn't go that far,
right.
But they're certainly within games. They could have won those games at different points. But I'd say at best you split Michigan State and Oklahoma. But either way, I mean, you're sitting at 2-3. I think it's just the way that you look at the program and what your expectations were coming in. Because for me, yes, there's the obvious situations going on at offensive line and special teams. Some of the worst in the nation. I mean, there's no way. Especially special teams. There's no way around it. But at the same time, if you try to look at a kind of a step back and look at it as a program. Is the program getting better under Scott Frost? I think this is the best that Nebraska's looked as a team, despite looking absolutely horrible in certain spots that they've looked under Scott Frost so far.
But how confident are you that will continue, knowing that you can't close games? And where does the confidence end for these guys? These guys haven't played confident, especially on the defensive side.
Yeah.
And Adrian looked good for most of that game. And then, of course, the big interception right at the end. I don't know how much longer you can go on and not win games and keep that type of sustainable effort that we see from Nebraska football, especially on the defensive side. I think it's awesome that they're playing like that, but the line we know is small. So you have to be detail oriented, and Nebraska isn't when it comes to penalties. They aren't, certainly, when it comes to special teams. Let's take a quick call. 464-5685, the Honda of Lincoln hotline. It's Russ. Hi, Russ.
Hey, how's your Monday going?
I'm okay. I was not good after the game, but
this is where I'm at.
Okay.
I think I've come to the realization that there is more to life than Nebraska football and Saturdays to count on. Looking forward to the game. And for me anymore, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, no big deal. It's become comical. It's become ridiculous. It's become Detroit Lions football. It's just amazing that we can't close the deal on anything, and it's just like there's a curse over the University of Nebraska football team. And I look forward to the game, watch it, might even be there, but for me it's more just a social event. And if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. No big deal. Hurts too much to try to invest yourself into it too much. Give your heart and soul to these guys. You hope that they win, and they're working hard. But at the end of the day, it's like, well, there's other things in life other than Nebraska football, and team, and whatever happens, happens.
Yeah, my wife Heidi had to come downstairs and check on me because I wasn't screaming at the TV.
Yeah.
I was pretty calm, and it makes me worried. I'm going, has the passion left? It hasn't, because I watched the replay yesterday, and I was more angry the second time, thinking, man, you were so close. Maybe I was just maybe I wasn't expecting a lot, and then when it happened, I was expecting disaster, and then when the disaster happened, I was like, okay, that makes sense, because that's what I was expecting, and disaster hadn't happened. But then watching it again, I was like, how do you let that disaster happen again?
Yeah, and I think Russ's call is indicative of a lot of Husker fans, and it almost has to be through the last 5 years. If you're hanging, your emotions for the whole weekend or even that whole week on the Husker performance, you're going to have a pretty crappy week. So it sucks. I mean, for fans that have been there for the glory days, where a loss like this would be 1 or 2 losses of the year, and it'd mean everything to you.
Yeah.
You talk about it the whole year, how they'd mess up, and that screwed their chances of winning the national title. Now losses come, week in and week out. It seems like, I shouldn't say that, but every other week at least, it feels like, and
they invent new ways to lose.
Yeah, and it's frustrating, but it's just where you are as a program. This is a team that's battling to get to 6-6, and if you have a team that's the expectation, they're going to have flaws. They're going to have problems, and they certainly do.
Yep. You'd just like to see at some point after year 4 that those problems get corrected. Let's take another quick call from Eric. Hi, Eric. How are you?
Hey, good. Yourself?
Good.
Hey, I was fortunate enough to live through the 70s, 80s, 90s, and go to all the games and take in all of that. But in the last 10 years, it's gotten to the point where everything's so predictable that you just sit around and you wait for them to self-destruct.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, who didn't know going into that game that Mel Tucker was going to throw a flea flicker after he beat Frost with it in the Colorado game?
Right.
And the things that they did are so predictable about clock management, and it seems like on the offense, they just can't get out of their own way. I mean, at the end of the game, everybody talks about the 18 seconds that were left. Well, look what led up to it. I mean, they get a 15, 20-yard gain, and then they get a 6-yard gain in bounds. But instead of calling timeout and having, 40 seconds on the clock, they scramble around and rush to run another play. And then inevitably they're out of position. They get a sack. And then now you're down to like 20 seconds or 18 seconds, whatever it is. And then they just throw in the towel, which I still don't understand.
Yeah.
But the mistake happened before when they didn't call timeout and reorganize. Just baffling that guys that have been around football as long as guys like Frost and the people on his staff have been, they can't see things. It's like they almost look like they've never done it. Sometimes they get caught up in the moment. Everything just spirals out of control. So I'm at a point now where I just watch it.
Yeah.
There's no real emotion to it. You just watch it. You wait for it to implode, like every opponent they have knows they're going to implode. And then you just go on to the next week and wait and see what happens.
That's a sad existence, but thanks for the call. Appreciate it, Eric. One more. Let's take a quick call from Eric. Hi, Eric.
This is Chris.
Oh, I'm sorry, Chris.
Oh.
Chris.
Hey, guys. Great show. Yeah, we're a one-legged stool right now. We've got great defense, the worst special teams ever seen, and an offense that doesn't score. I mean, they put up a lot of yards because they have to, because their special teams stink so bad, and that every punter, they just flip the field automatically because, we don't have anybody can catch a punt.
Yeah.
So, so we have to go for more yards. That's why we get more yards than the other team, because we're driving 70, 80 plus yards every time. Those hidden yards, and that's just the opposite with Iowa. You watch them, their punt returner gets 8, 12, 30, sometimes 40 yards in punt returns, and their offense really is average at best, but that's all they need because their defense and their special teams set up the offense. Our special teams, it's almost your advantage just to say, you don't get a nice play on first down, just say, hey, let's punt it on second down. What the heck? What's the worst that can happen? I mean, joking, of course, but we have no clue. And the team, Frost doesn't care about special teams. If he did, this would be something that would have been addressed.
Yep.
Right off the bat.
Good call, Chris. Appreciate it. 464-5685. The whole special teams conversation is one I do want to get to because they've been a nightmare, and this hasn't been the only year. I mean,
it's been through the whole tenure.
Aaron Cruikshank has 2 touchdowns against Nebraska with 2 different teams. On kickoffs. I mean, that's ridiculous. You can't even invent a story and wouldn't believe it. But that's what they do. They gave up a 41-yard kickoff return, a 28-yard kickoff return. Nebraska had a 13-yarder. They also had a 7-yard punt. They had a punt that went for a touchdown. They had a 28-yard punt. They used 2 different punters, and neither of them were good.
Yeah, and that's why I don't understand. Like, I get what happened on the play where, we're punting right, everybody go to the right returner. But how do you have the confidence to make that call when you're replacing a punter that kicked it for 7 yards? I mean, you put that guy in to replace Cherney, and now you have Cherney kicking it. You just have where he's definitely going to kick it right where you want him to. That's not a good plan. And of course, it's just the whole thing. Like you said, it's not just this game. It's not just this week. It's just this season. It's the whole tenure of Scott Frost at Nebraska. It's very frustrating. But I thought Eric made an excellent point too. When you talk about that, it's just not a 2-minute offense. Obviously, that like they've been saying, they don't score enough points, and they got some pieces that maybe could work if Xavier Betts was out there. I mean, he'd definitely be helping.
He was the best player on the field for Nebraska, at least from the receiving score. Outside of Adrian, he was the best player on the field for Nebraska, I thought, offensively especially.
Oh, yeah, in the first half. It definitely would have helped, but I agree with him. I'm not so upset about not using that timeout after the sack. I think at that point, with that offense, you're not going to get too much going. But it was the call before that where it's like, you have to know you're not a good 2-minute offense. So if you get something under the sticks, you got timeouts left, use it. But it just goes back to the 2-minute offense that they had the previous week against Oklahoma, where you're throwing under the sticks and running the clock. You just have to have more awareness of what you're doing. Throw past it. I mean, you can't throw those underneath routes. An incompletion just out of bounds is a much better idea.
I know we're going to have this special teams conversation this week, but I think Chris is right. I think Scott Frost averaging 50 points a game, 48 points a game at UCF thought, kicker, why would I need a kicker? Punter, we're never going to punt. They're irrelevant. I don't think it was as simple as that, but I think there was maybe a little bit of arrogance there, thinking they're not going to be the most important aspect of our team. And then you take a little bit of a gamble, and maybe it still works out in Daniel Cherney, but he didn't have any high school football experience. Nebraska got their other punter from Michigan State.
Yep.
You can't find a kicker in the state of Nebraska that's produced so many great kickers and punters. I mean, Sam Foltz was fantastic, obviously. Sam Cook was amazing. Kyle Larson, and I mean, obviously,
Brett Maher, Alex Henry.
Yeah, you can go. I mean, Nebraska and all Nebraska guys in most cases.
Yeah.
So it's really frustrating that you can't figure out. Bo Pelini turned around his special teams when he took ownership of it. They went from really poor to really good. Now it helped to have DPE. He was a big difference, but he focused on it. And when your head coach takes ownership of special teams, guys take notice. And maybe I should get on that team because it's a chance for me to get known in front of my head coach. Either Scott Frost needs to get a special teams coordinator, a full-time special teams coordinator, and a really good one. Not somebody behind the scenes like Jonathan Rutledge, an actual on the field special teams coordinator,
like a Bruce Reed,
or
no, not that.
Or give up play calling and become your own special teams coordinator. It's time to stop fooling around because this is a league of details. The Big Ten, the small, as we've seen, the smallest details get you beat. Nebraska's now been 15 times beaten under Scott Frost in 1-score games, and it's because of details like Saturday night that I don't think they ignore, but there's not the attention to detail that there needs to be.
Well, and it's absolutely bonkers that this whole offseason, I mean, the special teams was so bad over the last couple of years that's what they were saying all offseason is we're really focusing on the special teams, and it's never looked worse. So I don't know what they did all offseason.
Bruce Reed I'm not saying just because you get a full-time special teams coordinator, it's going to work out, because Bruce Reed was not great.
Yeah.
But find a great one.
But they need to address it. They need to do something. I think that, I don't know if you do it mid-season, but along with that, I know the offensive line's young, but I mean, that is really holding back this offense, because you've kind of got everything else in place, especially now that you see Vokalek making plays out there. You got 2 big tight ends. You got 2 huge wide receivers out there with Betts is healthy, with Manning. We can't, all of them are back. They've got a lot of weapons. That offensive line is really holding the team back, not just with their false starts. They can't, they can't get a consistent running game going, and then the pass protection is just awful at times. Martinez have to make wonders just to keep plays alive. I think if you're looking at circling the problems here, it's very obvious that it's the offensive line and the special teams, and so you go back to those coaches, and they're going to have to do something, in my mind, pretty radical to save their job. And of course, with special teams, it's not the full-time job of Dawson, so he might just lose his duties there. But I mean, it's that bad. And I know the offensive line is young, so that's where maybe you have some forgiveness. But the false starts again.
We thought they were fixed at least a little bit. We bought in, right? I mean, we always get the Kool-Aid in the summer or fall camp. Special teams is something we start every practice with. It's a big deal. Mike Dawson, I think Mike Dawson is a really good coach, and he might even be a good special teams coach. But his full-time job is linebacker coach, so his attention has to be divided, because that's the way it is. He's doing 2 jobs, so you've got divided attention. It's something that you win at a very high level. Wind is a big factor in the Big Ten, throughout the Big Ten. There's so many one-score games, as has been proven under Scott Frost, that you need kickers. You can't give up all the hidden yardage that Nebraska gives up. I don't know what it was. It was probably 150 yards of hidden, not even that hidden. When you talk about the very short punts, the punts that went for touchdowns, the kickoff returns that went for 41 yards, their kickoff return is now, I think Daniel Frankie is still kicking it pretty good. He kicks it at least to the goal line, but it was a problem a little bit in that game. So get it fixed.
What can that guy do? What can Frankie do outside of kickoffs? Can he punt? Can he kick field goals?
Try something.
It's the same thing with the offensive line, though. You're just kind of getting to the point of, like, if you make a move with a guy, it can't get a whole lot worse. And then, they flip-flop punters, and it just goes from bad to worse. So, I mean, sometimes there are no right answers. Sometimes you don't have the answers in-house or on the roster. And that's ultimately what I think the problem with the special teams is. I don't think the answer's in-house. I don't think that this is a lack of an effort from the guys. They just don't have it. This is that bad that they don't have it. They don't have it on the team, or they don't have the answer within that coaching staff.
Well, then go get somebody who's good at it.
They're going to have to
go. And I think that they should have to pay some of their salary. I mean, some of these guys, I wouldn't even take it out of the books. It's like, no, you're all divvying up and getting the special teams coordinator.
What do you think about Frost play calling? Because at this point, and I didn't have a problem with it. I'm just saying, it kind of gets to that point of Frost, like, what do you do? Because the defense, we see Shenander putting in work. That's what's keeping everybody excited about this team and thinking it's good. What are you doing, Frost? If it's not great offense, maybe some oversight on the team, the details are good. Like, what is it that you're bringing to the table right now?
Otherwise, give it up to Lubick and become the offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Or become the quarterback's coach, and help out with the special teams. I don't feel like, obviously, I think they're really good coaches on the staff. I think there were really good coaches on this. I think Dawson is actually one of them as a linebacker coach. But his attention, again, is divided, and maybe the linebackers suffer a little bit. I think Travis Fisher is an excellent coach. I think Greg Austin has been a good coach at times. But the special teams need their attention so desperately. And you got to get it fixed. You got to get it fixed soon. Because you look at the Big Ten, it's not that good.
They can still get to 6 wins.
They can still get to 6 wins. I mean, and if you win games like you lost Saturday, and like you lost the previous week, and like you lost week number 1, I mean, that You take those 3 wins, they're almost there and bowl eligible.
Yeah.
They should almost be bowl eligible right now. This is a team where you feel like, don't waste it. Get this stuff figured out, because there's a lot of guys that really want to win.
But that's what you have to ask yourself. I know the frustration piles up in year 4, but again, I think this is the best that a Frost team has looked at Nebraska. So
that's why I want to know, where are you?
Is the frustration piling up to the point that you're done with this coaching staff? You want to move on? I think that would be a mistake. I mean, I think that you're finally getting to the point. Yes, they should be better than 2 and 3, but it's there. I don't think the last couple of years when you're finishing 5 and 7 and stuff like that, I don't think that that's too far from the talent on the roster. So now I think it's kind of switching to, okay, now they should have a better record, which is good. I mean, that means that the guys are growing up in the program.
What happens, though, when your athletic director says, you know what, Frost, you're staying. You're good to go. You're secure. There was progress, but not in special teams, not in certain areas of this program. Penalties are still a big problem. You're going to have to make some changes on your staff.
Yeah, I think that's definitely going to happen.
I mean, and here's a guy that I don't think that will come easy to. He's very loyal. If Scott Frost is one thing, he's been very loyal. I mean, the Troy Walters change, the Devon DeWitt thing. There's going to be guys that have left, but he's the only guy in college football that would have brought his whole staff from UCF. And that doesn't always work with the young staff. And that's why, in part, there's been some growing pains. But this might be the year, even if they get to 6, to say, you know what? We need to get this stuff fixed. And we've been saying it for 3 years. Now we've got to take action. Double secret probation, and maybe you don't keep your job. I'm not pointing to anybody in particular. Whoever you deem has not done their job.
We know.
Well, it's not, because I wouldn't fire Mike Dawson. I would not.
You're right.
I mean, he's still a great outside linebacker coach, so he stays. But you got to fix that problem.
What's that extra penny? What's the amount of change he's getting for the special teams help?
I don't know.
He should have to pay that back.
That's right. Divvy it up, and you buy the special teams coordinator.
Yeah.
There you go. Good conversation. Love to hear from you guys on the Honda of Lincoln hotline today. The Sutter Heyman text line 464-5685. We're on YouTube. We're on Twitter. We're on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook. You can see our faces on those. We're waving as we speak. We're going to do Monday Morning Movie Mania. We're going to act out a scene from a big movie, Bock.
That's right.
We've been
working on it.
We've already been through rehearsal, so it's pretty exciting stuff. But in the meantime, I do want to give out my grades, and I can be a harsh grader. You can chime in. You can be the final grader.
I'm going to grade your grades.
Yeah, that's right. He'll be grading my grades. We'll do that coming up next.
Download our app by searching 93.7 The Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day long wherever you are. This is Tom and Bock.
Deck City is Lincoln's DIY deck headquarters. With real deck professionals, they can help you throughout the entire process. They also offer financing for qualified customers. Deck City offers the best quality materials so you have a deck built to last. There's everything from yellowwood lumber to the best quality TimberTech composites on the market and high-quality aluminum railings by Westbury or Diamond Piers for easy footing install. For those looking to bring your wood deck back to life, they offer good-proof, ready seal stain. Deck City, your deck material headquarters, is now open Saturdays from 9 to 1, 2 blocks north of 33rd and Cornhusker Highway.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Sunny and hot conditions here for our Monday. We're topping out at 92. Winds will be relatively light out of the northeast at around 10. Mainly clear tonight, a low dropping down to around 60. We are sunny and hot again tomorrow with once again a high of around 92. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them?
By their clothes,
their age,
the way they speak.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America, 200 Food Banks Strong, and the Ad Council.
Welcome to Friendly Neighbors. Welcome to Maintenance-Free Living. Welcome to Carriage Glen. Welcome home. It's everything you'd want in an active 55-plus rental community right here in Lincoln. Spacious floor plans, numerous amenities, beautiful surroundings near Holmes Lake, and much more. Plus, with Carriage Glen's current move-in special, you can save thousands if you act now. Carriage Glen invites you to take a personal tour or visit them online at carriageglenoflincoln.com. Discover the place you'll love to call home.
Early break with Sip and Jake.
Like, it's almost like what I read here is it's surreal. According to Pro Football Focus data, Michigan State blitzed Nebraska 4 times on 47 dropbacks, but got pressure 28 times, including 7 sacks. Okay? They blitzed only 4 times on 47 dropbacks, but got pressure 28 times.
Early break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning.
Tractor Supply Distribution Center in Waverly is now hiring for all shifts. They're a 24/7 facility and a clean environment to work in. There's potential to earn up to $25.25 per hour with opportunities for overtime. They also offer a retention bonus as new team members are eligible for a bonus as high as $1,000. Come be a part of the Tractor Supply team. Apply today at www.tractorsupply.jobs.
Where will you go next? The Southeast Community College Fall 2021 Continuing Education Schedule of classes is arriving in your mailbox. Learn CPR and first aid, or choose a path in trades and industrial technology like automotive or welding, or computers and technology like social media and web development and design, or 19 pages of personal interest classes like making door signs or woodworking. The entire schedule is online at southeast.edu/continuing. SCC, your path to possible.
Tailgating wasn't just meant for weekends. Join 93.7 The Ticket every Tuesday at Chick-fil-A for Tailgate Tuesdays. Scan your app with any purchase on Tuesdays and you'll be entered to win a tailgate meal for 15 people. That's chicken nuggets, fresh fruit, and iced tea or lemonade. Winners will be contacted each Wednesday, and you can come see Tom and Bock from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the 48th and O location or at South Point each week. It's Tailgate Tuesdays all season long at Chick-fil-A in Lincoln. One host has a red beard and thinning hair. The other also has a red beard and thinning hair. One host got married over the summer. So did the other one. One is a diehard fan of a sub-500 AL Central baseball team. So is the other. Can these two radio hosts do a show together without getting confused as to their own identity? The same couple. Happer and Shaper. Weekday mornings from 8 to 11 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
New owners means new lunch specials at the Fox Bar and Grill. They've just introduced tons of options on their new under $10 lunch menu. Small nachos grande, a classic cheeseburger, 4 boneless or traditional wings and fries, or a small single topping pizza for just $5 each. Try the mushroom Swiss burger or the pepper jack stack burger for just $6. And for just $7, try any of the classic steak Philly, club wrap, grilled chicken salad, or grilled southwestern salad. It's the under $10 lunch menu at the Fox Bar and Grill, just south of 14th and Pine Lake.
Back to Tom and Bock on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Did you use the word frustration, Bock?
I might have accidentally said that.
I wonder if that T-shirt would sell.
I think so. I think that's the new slogan for Frost.
Frustration. Frostbite shirts sold well, or Frost Alert shirts.
Frost warnings. Those
Frost
were sweet.
warning. Yeah.
Remember? Like winter 2017, we knew frost was coming. We'd finally seen the sun, the light at the end of the tunnel.
Right.
That didn't happen yet.
So frustration would have the record, like I don't know, 6 and 15 in one-score games.
Yes, frustration.
Frustration. Hey, I'm not over it though. I'm in some ways I'm mildly confused, and Frederick Frank probably is upset with us that we're not angrier. I was actually angrier watching the replay last night than I am now. I'm angry, but there is a numbness that does set in when you expect something to happen and you don't know how it's going to happen, and you go, oh yeah, a punt return. Didn't think of that one. That's how they're going to get beat. But I should have thought of that one because their special teams are a disaster. But it does happen, something horrible, and you're just going, yeah, that sounds right. That looks about right.
Well, I guess the way that I see it is just like you said, maybe expect that at some point, or, you've already seen the 7-yard punt. So you figured maybe that was it for the week, or, there's, the fall starts again. I mean, there are plenty other problems beside that punt return. But to me, I'm not going to be too overly sad or surprised by an outcome that was pretty much predicted.
Yeah.
The spread was 3.5 or whatever it was, and Michigan State won by 3 in
Nebraska
overtime.
covered, baby.
That's right. But I mean, to me, Michigan State's a good team. They're number 18 in the nation. Again, I see progress in the program despite the frustrations that you see in the season right now. And I'm excited because you look around the rest of the Big Ten West or the rest of the schedule. I mean, all these games become more winnable in my mind by the week. And part of that is because Nebraska is getting better, or at least proving to me that they can play with top 25 type of competition. And the other part is Minnesota's struggling, Wisconsin's struggling, Iowa looks beatable, Purdue looks bad. There's just all these, Michigan is beatable. There's all these games that are left that Nebraska can win. And I know you're thinking to the point, well, yeah, they can, but they don't win these one possession games. But eventually I think they're going to get over the hump. I think that they're going to get a big win this year. And it was that close. And I know that's why it's frustrating. Think of the amount of joy and jubilation and just feel good for the season we'd have if Nebraska did come out with that win, 3-2, top 25 victory, and then the proof's in the pudding. Hey, Frost is getting this program better, but
it didn't happen.
It didn't quite happen.
It didn't happen, and that's why we're still frustrated, because they are so close. I believe them when they say they're close because we can see it. That's a really good football team. Kenneth Walker averaging 163 a game, got 60. I mean, they shut him down.
He's still the nation's leading rusher.
Yeah. But Nebraska is a really good defense. We can see the improvements. And so that's why it's it's almost more frustrating in some ways, because they're close. You can see that they're close. And Eric Shenander's the reason, the guy we criticized for the first couple of years. I guess maybe why I'm not completely doomed, because I feel like everybody left on this schedule is gettable.
Yeah.
You could, and shame on me for still trusting that they could win these games, because at some point I think they're going to flip up blackjack. I mean, it's going to happen. You sit at the dealer, you sit there long enough playing blackjack. Eventually you're going to get a blackjack. And I think it's going to happen. And the other thing that gives me a little bit of hope for Nebraska football is there's just not anybody that's very good in the West. Iowa's good. They might even be the best team in the Big Ten. Probably not. But who's the second best team in the West?
Ugh.
I don't know.
Might be Nebraska.
See, there you go. Drink the Kool-Aid.
There it is.
That's what I'm going to do the grades. Down the road, I'm going to have theme music for this. It's going to be wonderful. The Jackson 5 would be playing. They'd be singing ABC.
What's he going to get?
Do, re, mi. I don't even know the words. I do know the words. I should be better than that. But I
do have a question about the Jackson 5. I wasn't around at that time.
Okay.
Was it mostly just Michael Jackson? Is this another group? Like NSYNC was like, yeah, we're a boy band, and Justin Timberlake sang all their songs. They all just dance along with him.
He was they were good. They had a very strict father who made sure that they were perfectly in sync and perfectly in harmony. He was an abusive father, actually.
Oh yeah.
And we know that story. And Michael was just this genius little singer who had a really good voice for that. I mean, most kids don't sound that good.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
but like Janet Jackson was part of the 5, right?
Yeah. She was not part of the 5.
She wasn't.
It was maybe they would play as the family sometimes, and she would come out and sing. But I don't think
big mistake.
She and Latoya were not in the Jackson 5. That was an all boys band.
Big mistake. Big mistake.
Big mistake. Okay, so here's my grades. I've got the offensive line with a C-. They did some really good things, but they did give up 7 sacks. They finally made a dent in the fourth quarter. 7 sacks is tough to overcome, but they had 37 minutes in time of possession, the Nebraska offense. You got to give some credit there to the offensive line, but the penalties, the false starts really get you as well. I mean, it cost them some points, probably in that first drive, if they don't have those penalties and false starts. So overall, I'm giving them a C- because of the 7 sacks and because of the penalties.
You must be grading on a curve. You get 7 sacks and 4 false starts, and you still get into the C-.
But here's the good thing: 440 yards. They ran for 192 against a pretty good defense. They passed for 252. So they did some really, and I thought their pass protection at times was really good. At other times, it's really bad. You think it should be a D?
I would go. Yeah, I'd go in the D range.
Okay.
I gotta give you credit.
It's now a D. Bock has the right to change the grade on any of these that he disagrees with. You get 2 I would say you get 2 vetoes.
Okay.
You get 2 vetoes.
There's one of my vetoes.
There's one of your vetoes.
Because Adrian had to scramble a lot, and then you have those 7 sacks. I mean, some of his plays were just miraculous. The one the
45-yarder?
That was incredible. That was one of the best runs we've seen.
That was a great run. And, the offensive line is in part, partially to blame for the fumble. Because his production wasn't great on that particular play.
I thought Bryce Benhart just had a mismatch. I mean, throughout the game, he just did not have a chance. So I mean, but you'd have to get it credit. I mean, Ramir Johnson was able to run behind him decently. I mean, there was a lot of 1 and 2 and 3 yard gains. But I go back to Frost and the coaching staff on that when I say, are they calling a good game? Sometimes it's not, drawing up the flea flicker that Mel Brooks did, but it's more just kind of a, keep to the game plan, keep running the ball, and that's what they did. So I know we're not on that part of the grade, but you got to give him a little bit of credit for helping Ramir. I know it's only 4 yards of carry, but they had a running game presence.
No, you just gave him a D. So
I give him a little bit. That's what they got the D for. That's why they didn't get an F for giving up 7 sacks and all those false starts again.
But they also gained 440 yards. But I understand. I agree with you. We're going with the D instead of the C- on the offensive line. The D line, I gave an A+. They shut down the best running back in the entire country. He only had 19 carries for 61 yards. Nebraska was really good along the defensive line. The one bad part, DeAndre Thomas and the penalty on the sack, it didn't cost Nebraska, ended up costing them anything, but it was silly. And you would like to see guys on the defensive end when they tackle a quarterback to, lay them down gingerly.
Kind of. Yeah, that really depends on where you want. I mean, because they didn't blow the whistle.
They did blow. I mean, the official had his hands in the air, so obviously he was blowing something.
I don't know.
You didn't hear a whistle on that one.
I didn't hear a whistle, but I just,
you disagree with the grade, A-.
No.
A+.
Absolutely. Great grade. The defensive line looked great. And they got a lot of playmakers throughout there. I don't know. Sometimes, like you said, I mean, what you want to happen is them to lay down the quarterback and tell him that he's,
or at least don't slam him to the ground.
Well, I kind of like that.
I know you do, but there's this thing called concussions that the NCAA wants to try to keep out.
I know, but I like some fierceness in the defensive line. I like DeAndre Thomas. Maybe he made up for it later because when they made a play through the bones when it was a huge play, and
so you were all for the penalty. Take the penalty, even though it's very detrimental.
I don't mind a penalty once in a while if it's from being too aggressive. Those are the penalties I prefer besides pre-whistle. Pre-play.
But the defensive line, 30 carries for Michigan State, 70 yards, 2.4 per carry. The D line, and then you go to the linebackers and the defensive backs. I have to give them a B, mostly because the defensive backs did give up 1 touchdown. Miles Farmer was beat, and I think the cornerback was as well on the flea flicker. Great play design. The eye discipline is usually pretty good, but they got beat on the flea flicker. That's the one down spot for the defense, I think.
Yeah, and that's not the worst thing. I mean, if that's what it takes to score on you, then you're looking pretty good. I think it was, and it was a backup safety that kind of just was out of place. I think Newsome ran up for run support because of the flea flicker, because the running back had the ball, and so it was Farmer's grade back there, and he kind of stumbled. He got beat either way, but flea flickers beat people sometimes. It happens.
Luke Reimer, another good game, 11 tackles. Henrich had 9, Nelson 6. Markel Dismuke, his first career interception. So a lot of good things, but I can't give them an A because they did get beat on eye discipline in that particular case. Quarterback, I've got a B- for Adrian. I thought he was great at times, 2 touchdowns. He was really tough running the football. You mentioned the 45-yard scramble, but he did miss open receivers. There were guys open. In fact, Scott Frost said wide open, Levi Falk on the overtime play where they thought they had a perfect play designed, and he ends up throwing an interception that really hurt Nebraska. He took 7 sacks. I think sometimes he does hold the ball a little longer than I would like. I didn't see a lot of instances of that, but there were a few. I think one on the fumble. If he could have thrown that ball away. So I give him a B-. Is that too high or too low?
I think that's about right. I mean, again, they were not in this game without Adrian Martinez and some of the miraculous plays that he made just to keep him in the game. But there were a few mistakes made. And, to opening receivers' points, I mean, again, that goes back on the offensive line. It's not just the 7 sacks. It's the fact that he is taking the ball, from the snap, thinking I only have a few seconds to find somewhere, and then there's pressure right in his face. So they missed a few guys. Thorne missed a few guys because of the same thing. Because Nebraska's defense was living in his backfield, so it's tough to see everything over two giant men trying to come down and chase you down and tackle you. But I thought there was a few mistakes, and I wondered this too with kind of what I heard Schaefer kind of saying this. I'm not sure if Martinez has the choice to audible. Because even on that slant pass, that interception was just off of the cornerback had inside leverage. The worst route they could have done on that play is run a slant where he was going, where he was at. So I don't know if they should have switched that, or I don't know if that was a read. It was like an automatic throw type of thing. Because if you would have read the cornerback, you wouldn't have done it. And then Toure also didn't do a great job because the cornerback was playing inside of him, and he didn't. You got to cut off underneath if you're going to do that. But so I mean. There were a few plays, like you said, the fumble. I just expect those things to happen with the offensive line the way it is. It's going to be hard to play clean the whole game when you have that much pressure on you.
Yeah, I hope they get better, but it's hard to see that they will get dramatically better at this point.
And I should say this I know like a lot of people didn't like Brody Belt getting a run. Some people have complained about Levi Falk getting as much playing time. Those guys belong. Those guys, one of the best receptions was Brody Belt's reception. Those guys look.
Falk had a nice one too, where he broke a tackle and got an extra 15 yards.
Oh, absolutely, and that's why I say, I mean, those guys belong in that group of playmakers, and it's a good group of playmakers. They should get some snaps. I don't have any problem with it.
You mentioned the slant was a bad play, but Manning, the texter says, Andrew was open. They both slanted.
Yeah, he was underneath.
He was available.
It looked like it was predetermined from snap that they were going on that slant, which I don't know. That was just
it didn't
weird.
seem like anybody was really open on that particular play to me.
And he definitely
maybe
forced it.
A little bit of a force. You would like to see at least a field goal attempt, even with as bad kicking as Nebraska has. The running backs, I gave a C. I liked Ramir Johnson, 19 carries, 76 yards. Savion had a few good carries. He had that one catch for 14 yards. He shows a little bit of explosiveness, but only 15 yards. And Marquise Stepp, one carry for 2 yards. The running backs together averaged 1.8. So I gave him a C. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it was fair. I think Ramir, again, it looks like he's kind of stepped up, taking that job, and he looked solid, not spectacular, kind of got the yards that were there. He kind of tries to finish the drives well. It's kind of surprising to see Marquise Stepp where he is now, especially. It's not just the USC transfer thing. In week 2, he had 100 yards rushing and looked like he was leading that thing. So it's kind of weird, but again, I don't think that you have spectacular running backs. So it was solid. I like the grade.
I think Savion is potentially good, and Ramir does his job. He's just not the biggest guy in the world. Tight ends and wide receivers together. I originally said A-. I might go B. Or B+. Xavier Betts had the big first half, 5 catches, 62 yards. He was the best receiver out there for Nebraska. Samari Toure had 5 for 42. You had Falk 1 for 22. Manning 4 for 16. Vokalek had a really nice catch with the tight ends, 36 big yarder, like maybe 22 yarder, but 2 catches, 36 yards. And Austin Allen had 4 catches for 28. And they had 250 yards passing for the night. So I got to give Adrian and the wide receivers a pretty decent grade. B+.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Xavier Betts, like you said, I mean, if you would have had him in the second half, he was one of their best playmakers in the first half. I think a lot of guys did well. Like Vokalek, that catch wasn't incredible, and Martinez just had to throw it up. Could have been picked if Vokalek didn't make a great catch.
Right.
But that showed some faith in him. And I've, in the past, I've thought Vokalek is a little bit overrated because I just haven't seen it. That's where I see it. That's where I go, oh, that's what you've seen some of these in practice. That's an incredible catch. Austin Allen did a good job getting kind of yards after the catch. Manning, that's kind of what his job was, the short underneath route. So he didn't really do a whole lot, but no, overall it looked good. And like you said, maybe Falk with the great yards after catch that one play, and then he was wide open on the sideline for another. So and he just got missed. So they did well.
I didn't realize we were running this late. We got to get to break, but I'll give you my final 2. Obviously, special teams, an F. They had a 7-yard punt, a 29-yard punt, a return for a touchdown. It's an F. It's just terrible. Time for a special teams coordinator. And overall, I said C- because you didn't win. You didn't close out the game. You got to find a way to win these games. Nebraska hasn't, not only have they not done well in overtime, they haven't scored in overtime since 2014. That's incredible.
Yeah.
2 games versus Northwestern, they didn't score. Against Colorado and against Miami, they didn't score as well. Since 2014, they haven't scored in overtime. That's crazy. So there you go. My overall, a C-. You're okay with that?
I'd probably go C+.
Okay.
But we're in the same
You'd like
area.
you'd
Just
like to
because
end
of
in a
defense.
positive. Yeah. Okay. So we're quibbling over C- versus C+. A C. I'll just give him a C. We'll settle in between. Let's get to break. Come back with the blog jog with Rico next.
You're listening to Tom and Bock. Watch live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch.
Welcome to Friendly Neighbors. Welcome to maintenance-free living. Welcome to Carriage Glen. Welcome home. It's everything you'd want in an active 55-plus rental community right here in Lincoln. Spacious floor plans, numerous amenities, beautiful surroundings near Holmes Lake, and much more. Plus, with Carriage Glen's current move-in special, you can save thousands if you act now. Carriage Glen invites you to take a personal tour or visit them online at carriageglenoflincoln.com. Discover the place you'll love to call home.
Deck City is Lincoln's DIY deck headquarters. With real deck professionals, they can help you throughout the entire process. They also offer financing for qualified customers. Deck City offers the best quality materials so you have a deck built to last. There's everything from yellowwood lumber to the best quality TimberTech composites on the market and high-quality aluminum railings by Westbury or Diamond Piers for easy footing install. For those looking to bring your wood deck back to life, they offer good-proof, ready seal stain. Deck City, your deck material headquarters, is now open Saturdays from 9 to 1, 2 blocks north of 33rd and Cornhusker Highway.
Where will you go next? The Southeast Community College Fall 2021 Continuing Education Schedule of classes is arriving in your mailbox. Learn CPR and first aid, or choose a path in trades and industrial technology like automotive or welding, or computers and technology like social media and web development and design, or 19 pages of personal interest classes like making door signs or woodworking. The entire schedule is online at southeast.edu/continuing. SCC, your path to possible.
You can search online for hours to find the best electricians in Lincoln and the surrounding area, but I'll save you time. High Electric has been serving their customers for 30 years for both residential and commercial properties. They're experts in everything electrical, from remodeling to new additions, hot tub installations, electric vehicle chargers or EV chargers, lighting, ceiling fans, and more. High Electric takes jobs from Beatrice to Omaha and all towns, big or small, in between. Call them today at 402-466-6606 or learn more at highelectric.com. New owners means new lunch specials at the Fox Bar and Grill. They've just introduced tons of options on their new under $10 lunch menu. Small nachos grande, a classic cheeseburger, 4 boneless or traditional wings and fries, or a small single topping pizza for just $5 each. Try the mushroom Swiss burger or the pepper jack stack burger for just $6. And for just $7, try any of the classic steak Philly, club wrap, grilled chicken salad, or grilled southwestern salad. It's the under $10 lunch menu at the Fox Bar and Grill, just south of 14th and Pine Lake.
Tailgating wasn't just meant for weekends. Join 93.7 The Ticket every Tuesday at Chick-fil-A for Tailgate Tuesdays. Scan your app with any purchase on Tuesdays and you'll be entered to win a tailgate meal for 15 people. That's chicken nuggets, fresh fruit, and iced tea or lemonade. Winners will be contacted each Wednesday, and you can come see Tom and Bock from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the 48th and O location or at South Point each week. It's Tailgate Tuesdays all season long at Chick-fil-A in Lincoln.
At Eustace Body Shop, the health and safety of team members, customers, and the communities they serve is of utmost importance. All locations remain open and committed to serving customers. For the safety of customers, Eustace Body Shop has an online estimating tool to assess damages without bringing your car to the shop. When you're ready for repairs, they'll pick up your vehicle, complete repairs, and sanitize the interior before delivering it to you. Eustace Body Shop thanks you for your support and looks forward to serving you as we navigate these difficult times. Details at EustaceBodyShop.com.
Grab yourself a hot dog, pour a glass of eggnog, and settle in. This is the Blog Jog on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
I believe an offensive lineman speaking to the media. It looks like Matt Sichterman. Is that Matt Mac? Is that okay?
Did you just call him Mad Matt? I like that. Matt Sichterman.
He's angry. He's been here 4 years, and this is the first year he's starting.
Yeah.
So I'd never seen him at the podium, so I didn't know what he looked like.
He got an earful from Frost there. Like he made one of the mistakes.
3 of them did.
Well, yeah.
And I thought it was great. He went a little bit Bo Pelini on his guys, and I liked it. I mean, I don't want it all the time. I don't want him just screaming at everybody. But there is a time and a place where enough is enough, and that's where Scott Frost was.
Well, maybe if Matt Sickton was more mad, the right side of the line would be doing better.
That's right. That's right. I want a little angry. I want a little anger in those guys. Are you
been
angry?
hurt to get angry.
Are you angry?
I think I'm past angry. I think I'm not done. Like, I'm not actually done. Like, I'm still gonna watch and I'm still gonna support and I'm still gonna talk about them, obviously. But I'm just over it. Like,
Right.
we were sitting in here and we were excited. We were like, all right, Scott Frost is hyped. The team is hyped. They got the lead, and then they stopped them again. They got the ball back. They didn't get a first down on that drive. They punted it away, and all the air in the room just left.
Yeah.
And I was just like, cool. That's awesome.
I know. And if it's just one punt returner, they're fine even with that. They happen to be using 2 at that time, and he caught it perfectly.
Well, even if there's 2, if what Scott Frost says was true and the punter was supposed to hit it to the right side, if he does that, then it was perfectly covered.
Yep. But they don't
If you watch the replay from one of the other camera angles, Nick Henrich is on the punt team, and he noticed it at like the last second. He was the one person headed towards that side of the field, but he was in like the middle of the field, and the guy caught it and just sped past him.
Well, and we're not getting even to the blog jog, but this is interesting to me. Ross Ells is the guy that set that up.
Disgusting.
He's their special teams coordinator. Of course, his dad was a coach, I believe, at Lincoln Northeast or East. And of course, he coached at Nebraska, Ross Ells.
Yeah.
But he's the one that designed the play with one guy waving for a fair catch and the other guy catching it and running it. Apparently distracted Nebraska.
He designed the play, and Nebraska executed it to perfection for them.
Disgusting.
Yep. Yeah. Nice job, Nebraska, and nice job.
It took 2 trick plays from Michigan State, top 20 Michigan State, to beat Nebraska.
That's right. That's a better narrative. I like that
There you
segment. How do you spin it in a positive way? Well, there you go. That's one of the ways.
2 trick plays: a flea flicker
right.
and a fake punt return.
Scoreboard. Oh yeah. Well, you guys had to use trick plays.
Yeah, take that. Maybe if you
Hey,
actually,
we still win the all-time series.
if you played the game the correct way,
That's right.
without tricking people.
You don't need to be tricking people out there.
Maybe if you didn't put your helmet on our quarterback's chin,
That's right.
it would have been okay.
Yeah.
And apparently
Logan
that's
looks pretty good in
and
this,
apparently
league.
that's not targeting. But we're not going to talk about
Let's do one story.
One
of
animal
jogging.
story.
that. I don't have an animal story.
Oh no!
Unfortunately.
That's your only
I mean, it's
instruction.
kind of an animal story. It's
Okay.
Pokemon.
Make
Hey,
it
that's better. I like
Okay,
Pokemon.
Those
that's
are comes from NPR. Rare Pokemon Oreos are selling for thousands of dollars on eBay.
I've seen those at the store. Should I go buy them? Yeah.
You should.
Yeah.
You should.
What do you mean?
You should definitely do that. Apparently, there's 16 Pokemon. Like, there's one of 16 Pokemon on the Oreos, and the rare ones are selling for a lot of money. The mythical Mew is on a cookie,
Mew.
and if you get that one, you can sell it for a nice chunk
So
of
you
change.
guys were both Pokemon
I'm gonna
kids.
go across the street. Yeah.
Goes anywhere from $50,000 to $10,000 to $100,000.
From 50,000 or $50.
$50. From $50 to $10,000 to $100,000. Some listings promise a mint condition cookie. One claims the cookie was only handled with tongs, while others include photos showing the snack tucked safely in a plastic baggie.
No, in my luck, I'd get like the Mew that like is just mutated. It doesn't look.
It just got cracked. Like,
Is that Mew? Drop it. Oh,
You guys were Pokemon kids.
oh yeah, those
Pokemon.
Charizard cards that you had back in the day are worth quite a bit now.
if you have a mint condition holographic Charizard, you could sell that for a decent chunk of change. I had a holographic Charizard.
Did you? Yeah.
Yeah, I had no idea where it's at.
Did it get all bent up? And
I
out of
have
shape,
no
probably?
idea. I had it. I had the little the book with
Yeah,
the
the booklet.
plastic
You
sleeves,
could have bought a house for that.
and I have it. I know it's in that. I just don't know where
You have
that
to find
thing
that.
is.
We
I
have
think
to
it's
go
in
on
my.
on a hunt.
Yeah.
I think it's in my grandma's garage,
Yeah.
and the problem is that garage has seen better days.
Yeah. You're gonna have to go on an Easter
I'd still
egg
go
hunt.
look if I were you.
Yeah, it might be worth it.
That thing is
100
done
grand
for.
probably. Thanks, Rico. Appreciate it.
No problem.
Coming up next hour, box tops. What do you got today?
The top 10 Pokemon from no. It's the top 10 performance of the weekend in college football.
Nice. Bock will have it next.
Download our app by searching 93.7 The Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day long wherever you are. This is Tom and Bock. This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Listening to this Allstate commercial about savings might be the hardest thing about getting those savings. Save for simply becoming an Allstate customer. Save more for adding DriveWise. And save even more for driving safely. Visit allstate.com or contact your local agent for a quote today. Allstate. Minimum effort, maximum reward.
Not available in every state. New customer savings based on early signing discount. Drive-bys is an optional feature. Savings vary based on how you buy. Subject to terms and conditions. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
At Mountain Dew, we support the best and baddest disaster relief group in America, Team Rubicon. To show our support of Team Rubicon, Mountain Dew put in $1 million. And now you can help Team Rubicon too. Look for specially marked Team Rubicon bottles of Mountain Dew, Diet Mountain Dew, and Mountain Dew Zero Sugar. Enter for a chance to win weekly prizes at MountainDewTR.com and donate to Team Rubicon. You'll earn exclusive rewards when you do. No purchase necessary. U.S. residents 18 and older. Subject to rules at MountainDewTR.com. Ends 10/3/2020.
Hi, Sean Callahan here. In 2013, I first came across Koppel Chevrolet GMC in Louisville, and I've been a customer ever since. What's kept me coming back to Koppel is the people. Oftentimes, owner Bob Koppel and his son Brandon are right there with you in the showroom, walking you through the process. There's no runaround at Koppel. It's a hardworking Nebraska company built on honest, small-town values. So make that short drive to Louisville or visit them online at koppelcars.com.
Early break with Sip and Jake.
Like, it's almost like what I read here is it's surreal. According to Pro Football Focus data, Michigan State blitzed Nebraska 4 times on 47 dropbacks, but got pressure 28 times, including 7 sacks. Okay? They blitzed only 4 times on 47 dropbacks, but got pressure 28 times.
Early break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning.
No doubt about it, a water softener saves you money. Don't have one? Call the plumbers at Bryant. Just one call and no arm-twisting contracts. For a free estimate, call 467-1111 or go to BryantLincoln.com.
The party is back on in Lincoln this fall, and there's no party like the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show at Tipsy Tina's in the Haymarket. Join the whole ticket crew for 2.5 hours of pregame coverage before every home and away game this football season as they get you ready for the game. It's the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show at Tipsy Tina's in the Haymarket. Sponsored by Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping, Tractor Supply Distribution Center, T.O. Haas Tire and Auto, Planet Fitness, Barnwood and Leather, and Vitalize Health. 93.7 The Ticket. Fox KFXL weather. Sponsored by Security First Bank. A relationship you can count on.
Sunny and hot conditions here for our Monday. We're topping out at 92. Winds will be relatively light out of the northeast at around 10. Mainly clear tonight, a low dropping down to around 60. We are sunny and hot again tomorrow with once again a high of around 92. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Have you been to Barnwood and Leather, that new furniture store in Lincoln? It's a whole new look. If you like country, you'll love Barnwood and Leather. It's country with a kick. Rustic, yet contemporary. Handcrafted in America from historic reclaimed barnwood and the finest leather. Create your own one-of-a-kind look for a room or your whole home. Come see for yourself at Barnwood and Leather, South 14th and Dahlberg. Open Monday through Saturday, 10 to 5.
New owners means new lunch specials at the Fox Bar and Grill. They've just introduced tons of options on their new under $10 lunch menu. Small nachos grande, a classic cheeseburger, 4 boneless or traditional wings and fries, or a small single topping pizza for just $5 each. Try the mushroom Swiss burger or the pepper jack stack burger for just $6. And for just $7, try any of the classic steak Philly, club wrap, grilled chicken salad, or grilled southwestern salad. It's the under $10 lunch menu at the Fox Bar and Grill, just south of 14th and Pine Lake.
Toys and sports collectibles, 6200 Havelock Avenue.
Hi, I'm Kevin with Sports Fantastic.
And I'm Daryl at Stop and Shop Funko Pop.
We have 2 of the best collectible stores in the coolest place in Lincoln, in historic Havelock by Misty's. Sports Fantastic has tons of sports memorabilia for Huskers and other hard-to-find teams.
And Stop and Shop Funko Pop has all your Funko and anime needs. It's your one-stop shop on one block at 6200 Havelock.
6200 Havelock Avenue.
This is Tom and Bock, coming at you live from Coppell Chevrolet GMC Studios in the heart of Lincoln, America, on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here are your hosts, Tom Stevens.
I always tell people, I just hope they see a guy that loves what he does.
Jake Bockoven.
I didn't get any stupider, I know that. I had never been very smart.
Tom and Bock starts now.
Hour number 2, Monday with Tom and Bock. One of the good things that did happen over the weekend, it was my number 2 thing outside of the Nebraska-Michigan State game. The Ryder Cup. And it did not disappoint for American golf fans. They played so well. 19-9 over the Europeans. They demolished. You watch any of the Ryder Cup? Was that on your?
No.
Okay.
But I read about it.
That's good. It was a thrashing in Wisconsin.
So how do you win 19-9? Usually golf, you're supposed to win with a lower score.
No. Well, you win. It's match play. So if you win your match versus another person, sometimes it's 2 balls, sometimes it's 4 balls, sometimes it's just a singles match where I'm going head to head with you, or it could be like you, me against Rico and Connor. Mm-hmm. It could be, where the best shot from the group wins. Sometimes they do alternate shot. There's different formats within it. And at the end of that, if you win your match, you get 1 point for your team.
And then do you move on, or are you just done?
Then you go on to the next event. Maybe it's alternate shot or a different events.
Yeah.
And there was a morning session and then an afternoon session, and the U.S. won almost every session 3-1. So, and if you tie at the end of 18 holes, you split the point between the Americans and the Europeans, but the Americans were winning everything. And they had the best players in the entire world, with the exception of John Rahm. And their average age is somewhere around 29. The Europeans, a little older, 34. It looks like the U.S. potentially could dominate for a long
because the U.S. is even younger average age.
Their average age of 29. The Europeans are somewhere in the mid 30s.
Take that,
even
Europe.
That's right.
You old outdated.
The old dinosaurs.
Yeah.
But it was a good weekend for the Americans. And at the end of it, Brooks Koepka hugged Bryson DeChambeau.
Oh, that's a big news.
After the trophy presentation, everybody's like, come on, you got to hug. You got to come on. You two, look at you. Come on. Give a big hug. Come on.
Was it a real hug, or was
Bryson was all into it. Like he was like the one standing in the middle waiting for Koepka, who is the jerk of the two. I've said Koepka just seems like he really likes Koepka, and he's really good. So, he can do that. And Bryson just seems like this weird scientist golf guy who tried to bring a protractor onto the greens. And they said, you can't do that. So he's just a kind of a weirdo, whereas Brooks is just a little bit mean sometimes.
They need to build that up, though. Obviously, they're in their kind of like post-Tiger phase. Yeah. They need to build stars. The best way to build stars is a fight. They need to get them drunk and have a boxing match.
There you go. I wish they would have paired them. I thought it would have been much better theater if you would have put those two guys together. And there was some sort of Happy Gilmore, Bob Barker type fight.
Yeah, that'd be incredible. I'd watch that. Sure.
And then they win. And then they win and then they punch each other.
Yes.
That'd be fantastic. But they did win. They just weren't paired together. So that was a bit of a disappointment. Are you ready to go?
I'm ready to go.
I haven't even loaded these. So,
No, you're not ready to go. I thought when you asked me if I was ready to go, it meant because you were ready.
No,
to go.
I wasn't ready at all. I wasn't even close to being ready.
No, I'm not ready. I'm scrambling.
But just give me the topic and tell me what you're going to talk about on the 10.
We got the top 10 performances of the weekend in college football. I do it every week. Try to keep up everybody on who's playing well, and maybe a little bit of Heisman update. Of course, not this week though.
All right.
Matt Corral didn't play.
Go ahead, because I don't have box tops lined up. What's number 10 on your? I like it. There you go.
All right. Number 10 on my list, of course, you can't have a top 10 list without a defender from Iowa. Jack Campbell led the Hawkeyes this week. The junior linebacker had 18 tackles, which I think was second so far in the nation this year per game, if you exclude, of course, the wonderful the tackle master over there at Fordham. I'm talking FBS. He had 2 pass deflections and 2 fumble recoveries in a 24-14 win over Colorado State.
Sorry, a little
that's
late.
okay.
I thought you
that's
had to
good.
pot it down lighter there.
Oh, no, that sounds great.
All right. I liked it. All right. Continue.
Let's continue with another Big Ten defensive player, Haskell Garrett of Ohio State. Of course, a big defensive tackle. You can't mention his name without saying he got shot in the face. Of course.
That's right. That actually happened.
That really did happen.
And he's fine. I mean, how strong of a face do you have to have?
I don't know. And he
to
looks
survive
pretty good.
that?
I mean, it's not like it doesn't look like he got
And
shot
by the
in
way,
face.
he's going to have a long NFL career.
Oh, yeah. That guy's one of the best
that guy's
defenders in the nation.
That guy is an absolute stud.
And he showed it this last week against Akron. 5 tackles, 3 of those tackles for loss, all of them being sacks. Led to defense that held Akron to just 7 points at the 59-7 win for the Buckeyes.
All right, that's a good pick. And Ohio State's defense, at least against Akron, looked pretty good.
Yeah, and overall, I mean, their quarterback, what's his name, got his first start. Kyle McCord.
Kyle McCord.
He set the new record for passing yards in his first start for us.
Yeah, he had 319 yards and 2 TDs. He played really well without C.J. Stroud being injured. They were just mostly, I think, being cautious with him.
Yeah, but hey, if you have that good of a performance, maybe Stroud keeps struggling. Might see more of that guy.
He's a 5-star.
Yeah.
I mean, McCord's
not
really
bad.
good. Yeah.
Number 8, how about a guy we'll learn about this week? Evan Hull, the Northwestern running back. 22 carries, 216 yards, and 2 touchdowns in a 35-6 win over Ohio. He was its nation's second leading rusher this week with that 216 yards. It included a 90-yard rush. The last time Northwestern had a 90-yard run or over 90 yards was 1961. So Evan Hull doing something historic this past week.
That's impressive, 216 yards. And, of course, Northwestern getting healthy right before they play Nebraska, although Ohio is terrible.
What happened? Frank leaves, and they're just...
I think he'll come out of retirement at age 80 and coach again.
Remember when Kansas State did that with Snyder for a
Bill
while?
Snyder. Yeah, Snyder could be on the staff.
Yeah.
Get all the old guys back together.
Oh, that'd be incredible.
That'd be fantastic.
How about this number 7, Alabama wide receiver Jamison Williams? He transferred to Alabama because it was tough to get playing time at Ohio State. They just have too good of a wide receiver unit. He only had 1 reception. It was 81 yards and a touchdown. But he really makes this list because of his 3 kick returns for 177 yards, 2 touchdowns in the kick return game for Jamison Williams as the Crimson Tide beat down Southern Miss 63-14.
I didn't watch any of that game.
I don't blame you.
But Alabama, I know this. They're really good, but they're not dominant. Alabama. I don't think there is a dominant team in college football. In fact, I want to talk about it a little bit later on.
It's going to be fun this year. There's a lot of ups and downs. Number 6, how about somebody that looked dominant this past week? Texas. Is Texas back after their 70-35 rout of Texas Tech? Wide receiver Xavier Worthy leading the Longhorns there with 100 yards and 3 touchdowns on 5 catches in that 70-35 rout of the Red Raiders.
They've got some really good players. They got a really good running back. And it turns out Arkansas is a really good team.
That looked like a bad loss. Now it doesn't at all.
It doesn't look like a horrible loss anymore because Arkansas just thumped. No, not that thumped, but they beat Texas A&M.
Yeah.
They're really good. So that's not a horrible loss.
Yeah, speaking of Arkansas, Traylon Burks, their wide receiver, had 6 receptions for 167 yards and a touchdown in the 20-10 upset win over Texas A&M, snapping the Aggies' 11-game win streak. His 85-yard touchdown reception was the first passing touchdown the Aggies gave up all year, and his 6 catches accounted for 6 of the 9 catches that Arkansas had. So he was kind of the really only big target out there. Also a fun little stat for him. Bumper Pool, their linebacker, led the team with 8 tackles.
Bumper Pool. Would you name your kid, if your last name were Pool, Bumper?
Yeah, why not? I mean, not really, actually.
No, it'd be a horrible thing to do
That's
to
like
a
the
kid.
kids' way of pool. Why don't you name him?
Yeah,
I don't know, some other pool related.
Bumper cars.
Yeah. I think Bumper is the problem. Yeah, Bumper cars would be better than Bumper Pool.
Yeah, Bumper Pool is not as good as Bumper Cars.
Bumper Cars. Change your last name.
But here's the thing: Arkansas is good. Arkansas is really, really good. And as a Nebraska fan, this is where my mind goes. Man, they turned it around right away. Why can't Nebraska do that?
Well, it's taken them a few coaching staffs and a few experiments.
But the latest coach is doing it relatively quickly.
They have a big matchup with Georgia this upcoming week, so I mean they could continue that great season so far for Woo Pig Suey. I don't know what that means.
I don't either.
They like it down there. Number 4 on my list, a guy that always makes a list: Fresno State quarterback Jake Hayner. He's the nation's leading passer with 18,000 would be really good. 1,842 yards through his first 5 games for the Bulldogs. They struggle with UNLV, which is really a bad team.
Yeah.
But they won 38-30. It wasn't his fault. 30 of 42 in the air, 378 yards, 5 touchdowns, and an interception. Hayner might be a dark horse to move up those draft boards as a quarterback.
They're a good team, though. The Fresno State's good, but they've got one of the best quarterbacks, certainly one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the entire country, and he's playing like it.
Yeah, their one loss, of course, just coming a close one to top 5 Oregon. So Fresno State, like I said, number 18, look out for them. Probably not for the playoff, but to keep moving up the polls, getting in the top 10 maybe. Number 3 on my list, how about freshman quarterback Jeff Sims of the Ramblin' Wreck of Georgia Tech? 10 of 13, 112 yards and a touchdown, 10 rushes for 128 yards and 3 touchdowns on the ground in a 45-22 win over Sam Howell and the number 21 North Carolina Tar Heels. Those numbers sound like a triple option offense. They've moved away from that, and it's been a struggle for Georgia Tech to do so. But they're now 2-2 after 3-9 and 3-7 season in Jeff Collins' first few years, so maybe they're not too bad. By the way, Charlie Thomas, the linebacker for Georgia Tech, also had a good game, 4.5 tackles for loss and 2.5 sacks, so he deserves a shout-out. But how about this? Wake Forest and Boston College. Of course, North Carolina already lost, but with Clemson's loss, the ACC looks wide open. And Wake Forest and Boston College are the last remaining unbeaten teams in the ACC. Probably the 2 teams in the ACC I would be most likely to forget entirely. Wake Forest and Boston College.
Yeah, bold prediction. Neither Wake Forest or Boston College will go undefeated this season.
Yeah. The ACC is not going to have a representative, I don't think, in the college football playoff.
I don't see how they can. Well, Clemson's out, and that's their hope.
Yeah.
And Florida State's not good.
North Carolina was top 10 preseason. They got 2
Louisville's
losses.
okay. As you mentioned, BC, nice win this weekend. North Carolina State's not it. There isn't a team from the ACC, probably if Oklahoma were to lose, the Big 12.
Yeah. Maybe Texas.
No, they still had a loss, though. Maybe they could still get in with a loss, but
a couple teams will.
Yeah.
There's a lot of conferences that you look at. That's why it's going to be so fun. Like Oregon's basically the only hope for the Pac-12.
I think the SEC can have a 1-loss team, and maybe the Big 10 can have a 1-loss team. I'm not sure anybody else can.
Yeah.
Maybe Oregon.
Yeah.
Maybe Oregon could.
We'll see. It'll be fun. This year's just going to be incredible to watch play out. Number 2 on my list, we mentioned it. Clemson lost this week. Davon Leary, a big reason for that. North Carolina State sophomore quarterback, was 32 of 44, 238 yards. So not a whole lot of yards there, but 4 touchdowns in the 27-21 win over Clemson. He outdueled DJ Uiagalelei, which is just a tough name to say.
Yeah, it's impossible.
Yeah, but the Clemson quarterback, Uiagalelei, there you go. Was 12 of 26 for 111 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. He almost needs to be replaced.
He's not good, and he's another 5-star. Remember Hunter Johnson went to Northwestern, didn't work out, and he's been benched even at Northwestern. DJ, I thought he was going to be great. He had some huge games last year. Right now.
Yeah, that's the thing. Uiagalelei's best games were when he had all those weapons, and I think that's where, like you said, we're going to get to a segment later on, but we've seen these teams restock and restock and restock. We just figured it'd happen again, but there's a lot of teams that aren't reloaded, and they're struggling to find anything. And Clemson's certainly one of those, and I'm glad to see it. I was tired of Clemson, so
me too.
2 losses for them. Yep. How about number 1 on my list, the player of the week for me? Christian Anderson, the senior quarterback at an Army, led the nation in rushing this week. Anytime a quarterback leads the nation in rushing, he's going to make my list. 15 carries, 236 yards, and 2 touchdowns, including a 72 and a 75-yarder. What makes it even more fun, he was 0 for 5 passing, which means Army.
Love that stat.
Well, that means Army didn't have 1 passing yard, yet they still beat Miami, Ohio 23-10 as they outrushed the Redhawks 384-28.
Yep.
How about I would love to watch. I'm going to go watch that game. If you can win a game without a passing yard,
don't you think there are a lot of instances where Army has less than 10 passing yards?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't pass too much.
Nor does Navy. I mean, but they're fun to watch. I agree with you. I think they're undefeated right now. Aren't they undefeated?
I don't know. They might be. I thought about sneaking off because I was in Colorado Springs. I thought about sneaking off and going to the Air Force game.
Did you?
Yeah. It started the same time the Huskers game did.
Colorado State, Iowa was in Iowa. Right?
Yeah,
that was in Iowa. But yeah, that would have been fun. You should have done that.
Yeah.
I'm glad you had fun. A big bachelor party, right?
Yeah.
And nothing crazy happened.
Nothing that I want to talk about on the radio. No.
That's okay. People are listening.
Like we said, I had fun and I gained some weight, so that means a fun weekend.
That is a good week. It's a good weekend. Nothing to complain about there. I want to talk a little Husker volleyball. They're 2-0 in the conference. Now, they have played Northwestern and Iowa's not good, and Northwestern's not very good either. In fact, Iowa's probably better than Northwestern, and Northwestern's not good. But it is a 2-0 start to league play for Nebraska volleyball. And I want to talk about it because the new lineup has emerged, maybe not as young as we thought, or maybe not as old as we thought it could be, but they're mixing and matching. And how's it working out? We'll talk to Tanya Taki. Tanya Taki is a former Husker great and talks volleyball with us on the radio. We'll do it next.
You're listening to Tom and Bock. Watch live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch.
Another packed fall sports season means it's time to get to N Street Drive-In to fill up on all your beverage needs. Right now, they have tons of Oktoberfest beers, and you can check out their new Empyrean, New Belgium, and Prost selections as their beers of the month. Also, make sure to download the new N Street Drive-In app to order online and to set up delivery right to your front door. And don't forget their top-notch Crowler fill system. N Street Drive-In, your one-stop beverage shop at 1801 Oak Street.
No doubt about it, a water softener saves you money. Don't have one? Call the plumbers at Bryant. Just one call and no arm-twisting contracts. For a free estimate, call 467-1111 or go to BryantLincoln.com.
We take our college football Saturdays so seriously at 93.7 The Ticket that one post-game show simply isn't enough. Join Husker Hall of Famer Jay Foreman and DP for The Ticket postgame. 90 minutes following each Nebraska game at Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill. They'll break down the game from their vantage point and bring in special guests as well, with giveaways to listeners who drop by. It's The Ticket postgame with Jay Foreman and DP at Tanner's Bar and Grill. Sponsored by Action Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning and Vinnie Kreekak of State Farm Insurance.
Have you been to Barn Wood and Leather, that new furniture store in Lincoln? It's a whole new look. If you like country, you'll love Barn Wood and Leather. It's country with a kick. Rustic, yet contemporary. Handcrafted in America from historic reclaimed barnwood and the finest leather. Create your own one-of-a-kind look for a room or your whole home. Come see for yourself at Barn Wood and Leather, South 14th and Dahlberg. Open Monday through Saturday, 10 to 5.
Nguyen Vape is celebrating their grand opening with 20% off products all month long. They have the largest disposable vape selection in town and also carry Delta 8 and Delta 10 and various other moon rocks. If you're looking for help to relax, sleep, or ease pain, they have a variety of gummies you can choose from and Kratom that could help with pain relief, anxiety, and stress. You can't miss them right on the southwest corner of 27th and O Street. Nguyen Vape, your headquarters in Lincoln for vapes and Delta 8 or 10.
Deck City is Lincoln's DIY deck headquarters. With real deck professionals, they can help you throughout the entire process. They also offer financing for qualified customers. Deck City offers the best quality materials so you have a deck built to last. There's everything from yellowwood lumber to the best quality TimberTech composites on the market and high-quality aluminum railings by Westbury or Diamond Piers for easy footing install. For those looking to bring your wood deck back to life, they offer good-proof, ready seal stamp. Deck City, your deck material headquarters, is now open Saturdays from 9 to 1, 2 blocks north of 33rd and Cornhusker Highway.
At Eustis Body Shop, the health and safety of team members, customers, and the communities they serve is of utmost importance. All locations remain open and committed to serving customers. For the safety of customers, Eustis Body Shop has an online estimating tool to assess damages without bringing your car to the shop. When you're ready for repairs, they'll pick up your vehicle, complete repairs, and sanitize the interior before delivering it to you. Eustis Body Shop thanks you for your support and looks forward to serving you as we navigate these difficult times. Details at EustisBodyShop.com.
The party is back on in Lincoln this fall, and there's no party like the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show at Tipsy Tina's in the Haymarket. Join the whole Ticket crew for 2.5 hours of pregame coverage before every home and away game this football season as they get you ready for the game. It's the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show at Tipsy Tina's in the Haymarket. Sponsored by Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping, Tractor Supply Distribution Center, T.O. Haas Tire and Auto, Planet Fitness, Barnwood and Leather, and Vitalize Health. You're listening to Tom and Bock on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back. It is Tom and Bock. I'm Tom Stevens. He's Jake Bachhoven on Nebraska volleyball. 12th ranked, still in the country. swept Iowa on Saturday.
Yes.
Center.
Take that, Hawkeyes.
That's right. It's good to beat Iowa. I don't care what sport you're talking about. Nebraska now 8-3, 2-0 in the Big Ten, and Iowa 2-10, 0-2 in the league.
2-10?
Yeah, they're awful.
That's really.
They're the worst team in the Big Ten. And Northwestern isn't far behind.
And they've never beaten Nebraska in volleyball. That's kind of a cool stat I learned over the weekend.
It's. I think Nebraska's 34-0. Do you remember? Is Tanya there?
Yeah.
Do you remember Iowa ever being good at volleyball when you were there?
No.
Yeah.
I was actually recruited to Iowa and Iowa State, and neither of those places were very good.
Yeah.
I believe that we made it through a couple of games where the most I scored was 4 points back in the day before we had rally scoring.
Yeah.
So we would get on a plane at 2:00, fly there, play them. They'd score 3 points. We'd get home at about 6:00, 7:00, whatever it was, and be home in time to go to bed.
Does that surprise you a little? Because there's a lot of really good basketball players in the state of Iowa, and a lot of them play both sports, play volleyball and play basketball. To me, it's a little surprising that they're not better.
Right. I would say a lot of it just comes down to it's been a basketball sport for a long time. And so it's just kind of the tradition. If you're big and huge, you play basketball.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that might be it. Maddie Kubek had 15 kills, 14 digs. Lindsey Krause had 12 kills. Nebraska has that lineup. We thought they could go really young, but they kind of chose to go in the middle. They've got Knuckles out there, who's a junior. You got Nicklin Hames, who's a senior. You got Caffey, who's a senior. And then you're seeing Lindsey Krause out there. You're seeing Allie Batenhorst out there. And you're seeing Rodriguez out there. They're all freshmen. So you got 3 freshmen and then 3 older girls. And then you mix in Lexi's son. And we see some Swartz and Bock as well. What do you think of the new lineup?
I mean, I think you could nitpick either direction. I think the coaches are probably staying up nights trying to figure out what the best solution is. But I kind of like what he's got going on with, hey, this is what we're going to do. And if it doesn't work after 2 sets, we're going to try something else.
Yeah.
And so I kind of like that. I think you got to get Batenhorst started somewhere. I mean, she's obviously one of the best or the best in the country for her recruiting class. So let's get her started.
Yeah. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see where this team goes. Where can they improve this team as far as the Big Ten is concerned? Because you have mentioned it. All the super seniors in the Big Ten really make it hard unless you get Lauren Stivrins back and maybe Lexi returns the old Lexi. You're going to be really young against really older teams in this league.
Right. I think we are going up against super teams, and I think, to have Lauren Stivrins back would have made a big, huge difference in what we had going on.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just, that's where we're at, and this is what we're going with. And I mean, I hope that we can find places to get Sun in there, and she can kind of come in and be the hero, because that's kind of a cool role for her too. And she's, helping build the freshmen up and building the situation. So, I mean, props to her for taking on that role. I just hope they're communicating with her and she feels good about it, because it kind of sucks to be a senior and not get to do your role. So,
how many teams do you think from the Big Ten will get into the NCAA tournament? Nebraska is going to be safe, right? Don't you think? Just getting in.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even want to even get into a conversation about us not making the tournament in the Big Ten, because that's just not where our program is at. That's not the direction we want to be going.
Yeah.
So I would say it's going to be a tough conversation if we're not in it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's going to be interesting, because even Michigan will be tough on what do they have tomorrow night? Is it Friday night? When's the next? It'll be Friday night on BTN. The next game
we play Friday and then we play Sunday.
Sunday.
I mean, I think we're going to start playing teams that are way higher up in the ranks of Big Ten, and so that's where we're going to see where our true colors come out and how fast Lexi Sun comes out.
Yep. What's going on with Nebraska 1 these days?
Well, we just finished our 3rd tournament of the fall season, and we had our 2nd and 3rd graders playing 4-on-4, which was super exciting. We had the Pandas versus the Penguins for the championship game, and the Penguins came out on top, and so they were super excited. It was a little like herding cats, but they got to play volleyball, and our next session starts October 25th.
Awesome. Tanya Taki, one of the all-time greats in Nebraska volleyball history. We'll talk volleyball throughout the season. So let's go.
Okay.
All right. There's Tanya. Thank you, Tanya. Appreciate it. One of the greats, Tanya Tauke, one of the great blockers back in the day, and now coaches for Nebraska 1. I don't know if you saw the NFL yesterday, but red zone is the best thing. I think the inventions go like this: the wheel, fire, and red zone. I think
nice.
red zone might have
Red
taken
zone's
over
third.
fire, I think,
Even,
actually.
wow.
But it's great. I watched the entire Vikings game that way because you always see them if they're in the red zone. And I saw most of that game anyway. And they came out looking really good against Seattle. But the big story was the Lions lose like the Lions lose. But they lose on a historic kick. 66 yards, Justin Tucker.
Tucker's ready. There's the snap. Spot down. Kick on the way. It is up and it is off the crossbar and through. Oh my goodness. Are you kidding me? Justin Tucker from 66 hit the crossbar and it bounced through. And the Ravens are celebrating on the field. The longest field goal in the history of the NFL has just beaten the Detroit Lions.
That's the Lions' home call there.
The kicks are just getting ridiculous. Your Cards played my Vikings a few weeks ago. Matt Prater hit one from 62. He already had the record when he was with Denver at 64. This one was from 66. And I was watching it with a friend. I said, give him 5 extra yards. He's got a big leg, and they're kicking inside.
Yeah.
But he hammered that thing, and then it hits the crossbar, and you could see the Detroit fans going, yeah, oh, wait a minute. What just happened?
Which way is it bouncing in? It bounced in.
I mean, they have there are pictures of Detroit fans celebrating, and then Raven fans realizing that they should celebrate, and it's just a great thing. And then the Detroit fan, of course, goes like, "How did that just happen?" I just went from they're going to win, they did just win, it hit the crossbar, to we just lost. It made me feel a little bit like what Nebraska fans are going through these days.
Yeah, I mean, and it's funny because that was the home call for the Lions, and it didn't sound like the week before we did the Vikings call, and he was just torn up. I mean, it was a close game. They need to win. Lions fans or even the Lions radio broadcast, it's just like, of course.
Hey, of course we're going to lose.
We
but
lost.
They're expected to lose. They've got Jared Goff, who looks very average. And by the way, Matthew Stafford, the guy that used to be their quarterback and is now with the Rams, looked fantastic yesterday in their 10-point win over Tampa Bay. He threw for 348, something along those lines, 4 TDs, had a couple to Cooper Kupp. And they looked like the better team. I mean, if you just came from Mars, you would have said, well, the Rams are a better team than Tampa Bay, the Super Bowl champions. That defense has a few problems.
Yeah. I'm just glad, and it was kind of that way along the NFL, right? I mean, the Chiefs lost. A lot of teams that you'd expect to win, or traditionally have been the winners, lost yesterday. So it was a fun week in the NFL, and kind of brings the standings back into a place where the NFL usually gets. Everybody's got one loss, but yeah, I mean, I was just surprised to see, Well, I should say this. I'm excited for Matt Stafford because, we just talked about the Lions. He's been stuck there forever. And they clearly, I don't know what the Lions were thinking. Prison.
I mean, this is so much. This offense gets people open.
But Jared Goff was not going to be an upgrade. I don't know what the Lions were thinking in that trade. I loved the trade for the Rams at the time, and it's paying off.
Yeah, I don't think they got enough in return for a Matthew Stafford, even though the guy's in his, mid-30s now, and it feels like he's been in the league forever.
Yeah, I guess they got more youth in Goff, I guess.
And that's it. I mean, we expect to suck, so we'll trade for draft picks and bide our time, and maybe Jared Goff won't kill us.
Do you think Green Bay's good after that? That was a thrilling win that Rodgers led a comeback.
I think Green Bay is what Green Bay always is. They have some dynamic playmakers. Their defense a little suspect. Aaron Jones is a great player.
Yeah,
they've got good. I mean, they've got an MVP. And so they're going to win games like they did yesterday, where they have to go, 40 yards in 37 seconds. And of course, Aaron Rodgers does that. That was an awesome. And then they had to still kick a long field goal, and they pulled that off. Crosby, who's he never misses. I
Yeah.
mean, he's almost along the Justin Tucker. I mean,
He's been there for like 15 years.
Yeah, he's been there forever. And it seems like Tucker has been there in Baltimore for that long as well. I don't know what to make of the NFL because one week you get, we see New Orleans win 48-3 or whatever it was over Dallas.
28-3. Or over Green Bay.
The Green Bay. That's right. It was over Green Bay 38-3. And then the next week they look terrible. And then again, yesterday they look great. Minnesota starts 0-2 and they blew out Seattle yesterday. They dominated Seattle. I think the NFL is the most unpredictable thing ever. And it's great. And it makes it great. And I think we're seeing a little bit of that in college football. And I want to get around to it. Are we seeing a little more of the NFL drift to college football where you're seeing more parity? But the NFL, it's fantastic.
How about your best 0-3 teams? Because we're talking about parity and how a lot of it, week in and week out, you can't see it. But the 0-3 teams, other than one, maybe are pretty. You can accept them to be awful. The Jets, the Jaguars, the Colts, which might be a little bit of a surprise.
Yeah, that's
the Giants and the Lions.
Yeah,
that sounds about right for the.
I didn't think Pittsburgh would be this bad.
Yeah, that's true. And good for the Bengals. For me, I'm just supporting Zach Taylor, and hopefully he has a good career because he needed a big win. He needed a big season, and they're on top of the AFC North right now, tied with everybody else besides the Steelers.
And then you got Buffalo, who we kind of predicted that AFC East. Cincinnati is a surprise, but it's only 3 games in. Baltimore, Cleveland looked like better teams to me overall. Tennessee, where you thought they were in the South. But Houston's bad, but we knew that. No Deshaun Watson. Jacksonville's terrible. Indy's terrible.
They still led the Cardinals. I was getting nervous with that game.
That's right. I think the Raiders are a big surprise. Las Vegas Raiders are 3-0. Denver certainly is a big surprise. The Chargers, and of course, the biggest surprise, the Chiefs at 1-2.
Yeah.
Where Mahomes looks not he's still great, but he makes some throws now that you're going, oh, what the heck just happened there? And he gets some bad bounces sometimes, but where he was getting all the great bounces before, he's not getting a lot of them now. But he never lost in September. The Chiefs never lose in September.
Yeah.
And they're 1-2. So it does catch your eye.
Yeah.
I would guess over 17 games, the Chiefs rise to that top.
Right. Yeah.
And I would think the Raiders fall a little bit. I would think Denver falls a little bit. I think actually the two best teams in that division, the AFC West, are the Chargers and the Chiefs.
Yeah, the Chiefs' defense is just it's one of the worst in the leagues. I mean, as far as points given up.
Yeah,
so.
they just
that's the one thing they're just
they have the best playmakers and they don't have a great defense.
Yeah.
And then in the NFC East, you got Philadelphia at 1-1, Dallas at 1-1.
They play tonight.
They do play tonight on Monday Night Football.
The winner takes the lead in the division.
We know that the Giants are bad. I don't think Washington is terrible, but they are 1-2. You got Green Bay leading the North. That's about right. Minnesota's already given up a couple of games, but they're 1-2 along with Chicago 1-2.
Tough to see Justin Fields get off to such a bad start. I was really excited about him.
He was sacked 9 times.
Yeah.
I don't think he would drop back to pass, and I don't think I ever saw him throw the football. He was always getting clobbered.
Yeah, and that's obviously not going to help, but I mean, his final numbers there was just awful. 6 of 20 for 68 yards in his debut. Yikes.
Yeah, and I smartly picked him up in free agency for my fantasy league. I didn't start him. I started somebody who wasn't that much better, Ben Roethlisberger.
Oh yeah, that doesn't help much.
I think his career might be over.
He might be. He's old. He's getting to that point.
He's got a good receiving team. That's a bad offensive line, and he does get beaten up. So it doesn't matter how good your receivers are. They picked obviously a running back in the first round, and I thought that's a good move. I thought they would be better offensively than Pittsburgh has been, but their offensive line is just terrible, and he looks his age all of a sudden.
Yeah, and in the division with the Ravens and the Browns, and the Bengals have 2 wins. I don't think the Bengals are good, but Ravens and Browns, it's gonna be tough to make too much hay there. They're gonna lose those games.
Carolina's a big surprise in the NFC South at 3-0.
That's right.
They're doing it with defense and. Mears
and
basically.
Sam Darnold out of nowhere.
That turned out to be a great trade. Maybe it's just the Jets organization that once you get there, you get the virus, you get the fungus, and you can't get it off your skin, and you just because it's happening to Zach Wilson now. Yeah. He looks awful, and Sam Darnold didn't have a lot of help, but he looked awful. And now with a little bit of a running game. Christian McCaffrey might be out for a while, but actually, did he play yesterday? No, he didn't play yesterday. But he's out for a while. I think Chuba Hubbard is playing a little bit now. They look like the best team defensively in that league. But, Tampa Bay, New Orleans, Atlanta are really good. Well, not Atlanta, but Tampa Bay and New Orleans certainly are. So that should be fun to watch that division. And then you've got the NFC West with the Rams at times looking like the best team in football, but the Cardinals are there at 3-0. You got San Francisco 2-1 and Seattle. Surprising that they're at 1-2 right now. So any takes there? Any surprises for you?
Yeah, plenty. I mean, plenty of surprises. Like you said, the Panthers may be the biggest one. It's just going to be fun. I think the Rams, they kind of had that down year last year, but remember, they're in the Super Bowl the year before. I know that was with a bunch of rental players, but that's a good organization. I wouldn't be surprised to see them be one of the best teams this year.
Bock and I are going to act out a movie scene today.
Oh, that's
try
right.
Something different. It's Monday Movie Mania. I think our rehearsal went flawlessly. I think it was a good performance by both of us. Can we keep it up when the pressure's on? Because it's coming. 464-5685. Call right now on the Honda of Lincoln hotline to win $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings. We'll act out a movie. You name the movie, and you get chickens coming up next.
Download our app by searching 93.7 A Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day long wherever you are. This is Tom and Bock.
John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air's motto is our family serving yours. That starts with how we hire. We go through an extensive interview process to really get to know you and show you who we are. We want to help you build a great career, be challenged, have fun, and bring home an excellent weekly paycheck. We offer competitive wages with benefits, including a day off for your birthday. Apply to be a part of the John Henry's family at jhlincoln.com. That's jhlincoln.com.
John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air.
Another packed fall sports season means it's time to get to N Street Drive-In to fill up on all your beverage needs. Right now, they have tons of Oktoberfest beers, and you can check out their new Empyrean, New Belgium, and Prost selections as their beers of the month. Also, make sure to download the new N Street Drive-In app to order online and to set up delivery right to your front door. And don't forget their top-notch Crowler fill system. N Street Drive-In, your one-stop beverage shop at 1801 Oak Street.
Hi, Sean Callahan here. In 2013, I first came across Koppel Chevrolet GMC in Louisville, and I've been a customer ever since. What's kept me coming back to Koppel is the people. Oftentimes, owner Bob Koppel and his son Brandon are right there with you in the showroom, walking you through the process. There's no runaround at Koppel. It's a hardworking Nebraska company built on honest, small-town values. So make that short drive to Louisville or visit them online at koppelcars.com.
Have you been to Barn Wood and Leather, that new furniture store in Lincoln? It's a whole new look. If you like country, you'll love Barn Wood and Leather. It's country with a kick. Rustic, yet contemporary. Handcrafted in America from historic reclaimed barnwood and the finest leather. Create your own one-of-a-kind look for a room or your whole home. Come see for yourself at Barn Wood and Leather, South 14th and Dahlberg. Open Monday through Saturday, 10 to 5.
Get into T.O. Haas Tire and get your vehicle set for any road with the all-new BF Goodrich Trail Terrain TA tire. And get ready to save, because right now you can get $70 back after online submission when you buy a set of 4. Or get $50 back with the purchase of any other set of 4 BF Goodrich passenger or light truck tires. See redemption instructions at tohostire.com. Offer expires October 4th, 2021. Void where prohibited.
T.O. Haas Tire and Auto, a tradition of trust.
At Eustis Body Shop, the health and safety of team members, customers, and the communities they serve is of utmost importance. All locations remain open and committed to serving customers. For the safety of customers, Eustis Body Shop has an online estimating tool to assess damages without bringing your car to the shop. When you're ready for repairs, they'll pick up your vehicle, complete repairs, and sanitize the interior before delivering it to you. Eustis Body Shop thanks you for your support and looks forward to serving you as we navigate these difficult times. Details at eustisbodyshop.com.
Nguyen Vape is celebrating their grand opening with 20% off products all month long. They have the largest vape selection in town and also carry Delta 8 and Delta 10 and various other moon rocks. If you're looking for help to relax, sleep, or ease pain, they have a variety of gummies you can choose from and Kratom that could help with pain relief, anxiety, and stress. You can't miss them right on the southwest corner of 27th and Street. Nguyen Vape, your headquarters in Lincoln for vapes and Delta 8 or 10.
This is a Broncos Radio Network update.
Touchdown, Denver! How about that? I like that!
Teddy Bridgewater takes the snap and a knee, and it is over. The Broncos have won it by a final score of 26-0.
Broncos insider Brandon Cristal, Dave Logan's final call on the Broncos Radio Network. Broncos improved to 3-0 with their shutout of the Jets in their home opener Sunday at Empower Field at Mile High. Quarterback Teddy Bridgewater, 19-25, 235 yards. No TDs, still no interceptions. Said he definitely likes having Broncos fans on his side.
It's great to just go out there today, play in front of this fan base, come away with the win. It was loud out there. I experienced being on the other side a couple years ago, so it was great to be a part of the winning side.
Safety Justin Simmons, who had one of the game's 2 interceptions, knows his team can't get caught up in their first-place record.
You win on a day like today, and then after you watch the film tomorrow, that game's over. And now it's on to, in our case now, the Ravens. And it doesn't matter what you did last week. You got a new game.
The Ravens come to town Sunday.
This is Wingman.
Son, your ego is writing checks your body can't cash.
I don't like you because you're dangerous. That's right.
You can be my wingman anytime.
Brought to you by Buffalo Wings and Rings on 93.7 The Ticket.
464-5685. Call right now on the Honda of Lincoln hotline with $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings so you can go get chickens.
Oh, yes.
Yardbird. All right, it's Movie Monday today. Movie Monday. I act out a scene with Bock. You identify that movie, and then you get to go get chickens. We've been rehearsing all morning.
That's right. That one time.
Turn down the music. There you go. Let your mind get into it, Bock.
All right, here we go.
And action. Hey, you awake?
Yeah.
Just want to let you know that I hate you, and so does my dad.
Well, that's fine, because guess what? I hate you too, and this house sucks.
Well, you and your mom are hillbillies, and this house is of learned doctors.
You're not a doctor. You're a big, fat, girly-headed jerk.
Yep. You better go to sleep. As soon as you do, shut your eyes. I'm going to punch you square in the face.
I want you out of my house.
No. Kimosabi, this is my house now. Okay. Not the best acting in the world, but we did the best we could.
Yeah.
On short
I
notice.
thought it was pretty good.
I thought it was pretty solid. What do you think, Nick, overall?
I thought it was all right. I mean, you really set the mood with the whispering, so it worked out well.
Well, they did whisper it in the actual movie, so we thought
you had to.
Yeah. 464-5685. Call right now on the Honda of Lincoln hotline. Rico obviously thinks of himself as a thespian. Connor is, and Nick's not bad.
Yeah.
So it's a tough group to chop.
Nick's gonna watch Ace Ventura. He hasn't seen Ace Ventura
yet. Dave. Hi, Dave. What do you think?
Hey, that's got to be Step Brothers.
That's got to be Step Brothers, even with the bad acting. Could identify that. Yep. Nicely done. You got chickens.
You win chickens
from Buffalo Wings and Rings. This is how the actual scene. It's actually a little bit different, but here's what it sounds like.
But you don't say that.
Shut up. Wake up my dad and get me grounded.
Just shut up.
You and your mom are hillbillies. This is a house of learned doctors. You're not a doctor. You're a big, fat, curly-headed Oh, yeah? I'm a curly-headed Yeah. You better not go to sleep. As soon as your eyes shut, I'm going to punch you square in the face.
Yeah. There you go. There you go. Best comedy of the last 10 years. How long? That's more than 10 years.
Yeah, I wonder how old that is.
I think it's 08.
Is it 08?
I think it was 08.
It's the last great Ferrell movie that I can remember.
2008.
He's running dry, right? I mean, is Will Ferrell lost? Because I think sometimes as a comedian you reach a stage in your life, it may be 45, where you can't do those types of movies anymore.
Yeah, in those mid 2000s, he was just on a roll and everything, and
so Will Ferrell's washed.
I don't think he's washed. I think he has to reinvent himself. What was the last great Will Ferrell movie?
Holmes and Watson.
No,
was he on that one? No, I don't know.
And when was that? What year was that?
I'm just looking at his last few ones. Anchorman 2 was bombed.
That was a terrible sequel.
The Lego movie was pretty good. He was the villain in that, I believe, but he didn't act in it. I mean,
he was on a roll for a while between mid 30s up until about 42, 43.
Yeah.
Now he's probably 50 something.
So like the mid 2000s had
Yeah.
Blades of Glory, Semi-Pro, Step Brothers,
Blades
Talladega Nights,
Blades of Glory,
Kicking and Screaming.
Um,
That's pretty good one. Elf,
you
obviously.
think we
old
should
school.
keep doing the acting thing until we get good at acting? Maybe we could
I
just
think
use
so.
this as our
Absolutely.
studio to keep going, even though our acting stinks. By this time next year, we'll be fantastic.
You have a
Yeah.
platform, might as well use it.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's right. I'm not giving up, despite the fact that we're not good actors.
I'm an actor. Yeah.
You think you are?
I'm a local actor. Yeah.
Did you do any acting in high school or
No.
junior high?
But I told you I paid a little bit of money to get into my friend's movie. So
That's
was
right.
good.
That's right. So you're a paid actor.
I have an IMDb page.
You're a paid actor who paid to get in the movie.
That's right.
Have you guys ever thought about improv?
No.
No.
No?
No.
No.
I mean, we do it a
We don't do-
lot
we
on
don't-
the show, I guess.
I guess so. I just always wondered about improv. If that'd be something.
Do you think you
interesting.
could do it?
I don't know.
Did you do any acting in high school?
I was in a play back in junior high.
How'd that go?
It went really well. I
In
was a
junior
king.
high, not even high school.
Not even high school. I was a king.
Oh, nice. A
I was
good
the
role.
main. I was the main male character.
Did you have lines?
Oh yeah, I had like 100 and some. I was.
wow.
I was.
That's a
I
lot.
was-
Lot of pressure to put on a kid.
My play in
Yeah.
school, they made me like the other guy in like a bus. Like,
Yeah?
I just was not. They didn't give me any lines. I had to sing. They gave me a song.
Oh, I remember I had to sing for a Christmas play in like 3rd grade.
yeah.
Killed a
That's
roy in a
nerve-wracking.
manger.
I couldn't do anything like that. I mean, there's no way.
Now that I'm a parent, I'm gonna have to go watch more of those awful productions.
That's right.
Eventually.
And you're gonna be able to take pictures and
That's right.
videos. You're gonna love
Oh
it.
man, it was cool back in the day when they had like nobody had video cameras, so it was just like a mom
Yeah.
or two in the back with a
Yeah.
big giant '90s camera.
Can you see
Those were
yourself?
sweet.
Well, everybody takes it on their phone now. I
yeah,
mean,
now you
so,
don't need that.
Everybody could do that. Are you anxious for those days though? Or are you dreading those days?
I'm mostly dreading those days. I think. No, I'll enjoy watching
That's-
my kid. I just don't want to watch everybody else's kid.
That's true.
And it's like 10 seconds of your kid and 45 minutes of everybody else's kid.
That's
so.
true. I mean, you have to wait for the joy, and
Yeah.
it's usually just about 10 seconds, and then your kid is off the stage, and hopefully he hasn't thrown up or done anything crazy.
Yeah.
So what's coming up on Happy Hour today?
Oh, we're gonna talk about Nebraska, Michigan State. I think we have a lot to get to.
Where are you? Are you angry? Are you like over it?
I'm
'Cause-
just confused.
Just confused.
I'm so confused.
But isn't that every
on-
day? A little bit. I mean,
I would like to
mean-
think so, but
I mean, Nebraska football. I think that's a good
confusing.
description. It's confusing.
yeah,
Because there's a team you look at them and you think they won that game. There's no doubt they won that game, and they did on the field. But they're the team that finds a way to lose. And because I wasn't confused, actually, I could understand how you could be. But I've seen this movie too many times. I know how the ending
Well-
happens. It's confusing as to how it'll happen.
it's confusing on how it keeps happening.
Yeah.
It keeps getting more and more. It keeps looking more and more like Nebraska should win. On the more extreme side of things, like these stats they're on the far extreme side of Nebraska winning this game. And it just keeps getting more and more confusing on how they lose it.
What do you think about if they beat? And not maybe this is later in the week, but
Yeah.
if they beat Northwestern, you're kind of starting the season back over. You're still trying to get to 6-6. You're 3-3. You're on pace.
I don't know. Like these next 3 games are crucial. Like that's all it is.
Yeah.
I mean, Northwestern, obviously, it's such a toss up. It's the same thing that we said last week. Is no matter how they go out and perform against whoever they're playing that week, come Monday morning, you have no idea what team you're going to get on the following
Well,
Saturday.
I think they should beat Northwestern down. I hope
You
I would
hope
think so.
that's looking on paper. They should have beaten Michigan State. They
well, yeah, according to the box score, but
maybe I was in that boat halfway through the week or so. Looking on paper, it was if you stop Kenneth Walker, you're going to win this game by 2 or 3 scores. And frankly, Nebraska should have.
But they gave up 200 yards in special teams.
Yeah,
and that's always the hidden yardage that I
Oh
don't
my
think
gosh.
is detailed out very well with this coaching staff. The one thing that gives me hope for Nebraska football right now, Northwestern, winnable game. I think, that's a game they could lose as well. Yeah, sure. We see that.
Yeah.
But Michigan looked beatable against Rutgers. Minnesota just did get beat by a team they were favored by 31 points over.
I paid them $1 million to lose that game.
That's right. Purdue is certainly not that intimidating.
Yeah.
Then
Quarterback issues at Purdue.
You've got Ohio State, but it's not unfeasible that you could be in that game in the fourth quarter.
It's not the dominant Ohio State.
It's
we've seen in
similar
the past.
to Oklahoma in that
Yeah.
scenario. And then you've got Wisconsin, very beatable. And Iowa, yeah, great defense and great special teams, things that Nebraska doesn't always perform well in, but that's a winnable game.
Part of their game plan is to keep you in the game. That's how Iowa beats you.
Well, here's my whole thought on that it was an opportunity on Saturday for Nebraska to put themselves firmly in the Big Ten West race or in the discussion, in the conversation. And they blew it.
Yeah.
Nobody is talking about Nebraska, and rightfully so. After finding a way to lose that game on Saturday, nobody's talking about them being a threat in the West.
I'll tell you this though. The nation's interested in watching Nebraska. Nebraska's had
absolutely.
They've had games that are at least entertaining and worthy of talking about on national TV, and we're going to get another one. They just announced the Michigan game is going to be 6:30 ABC. People are, because Nebraska's, whether they beat themselves or beat you on any given play, anything can happen. So they're an exciting team to watch.
Yeah, they are. I guess game day is game day coming for that.
I don't know
one.
about game day,
Well, you just said they're exciting and people want to see it.
Yeah,
maybe they will by then. You'd have to beat Northwestern.
Let's just do a hypothetical here. We have like 2 minutes. Let's do a hypothetical. What happens if Nebraska loses against Northwestern? What's the narrative?
Then it's
come
bad.
Sunday.
Then it's bad.
It's horrible.
And you're back to that. I mean, it's just every week. If you had that win, it's not every week doesn't have to be, well, either you win this or the program's dead, and which is kind of where we've been. And they keep losing these games. That's where Northwestern is I feel good about being able to beat Northwestern. But if you somehow lost that game, then the experiment seems like it's almost over.
And there's got to be at some point as a player, your confidence level is like, we won these games and yet we didn't win these games.
Yeah.
Where's our coaching when it really matters? Where's the attention to detail when it really matters? And that's what I worry about, the belief in the coaching staff, because if they give it up, then it's over. But I don't see evidence that will happen with this team so far.
Well, I'm just thinking, I mean, what if Nebraska goes out, plays elite on the defensive side of the ball like they did last week, and they still somehow find a way to lose this game on Saturday against a Northwestern team that returned less than 29% of production on the offensive side of the ball. They lost their starting running back at the beginning of the season. They have not very exciting on the skill position, and their quarterback play is bad.
Yeah, Northwestern's not a good team. But that's the thing.
But it's Northwestern, and it's a Nebraska versus Northwestern game, and you have no idea how this thing's going to go.
All these teams, their game plan is to wait till Nebraska makes a mistake. And in years past, it's worked out well for them. This team, it's like that's a given. Nebraska's going to have to overcome 2 or 3 huge mistakes to get a win.
Yep. And a new quarterback, Hunter Johnson, was benched. Zelensky came in and didn't do much.
Did you say Zelensky? Or Zelensky's auto sales?
Holinsky.
Holinsky came in.
Just
and
Tommy Boy reference.
That's right. Zelensky auto sales. I was probably thinking of that.
Yeah.
But he wasn't spectacular. But they have found a way to move the ball. That's through the run. And they ran for 370 in that game.
Yeah. Against Ohio.
Ohio's bad.
They need
again.
Frank back.
Frank should come back out of retirement at the age of 80.
Yes,
and hire Bill Snyder as his offensive lead assistant, and then you'll figure it out. But man, he's got to feel bad because he worked so hard to make that.
I know,
great.
And it's crumbling. He leaves for 3 minutes.
Yeah, it's like he was just left. He just got in the car to drive home, and
every coach wants to do it. I mean, he took over for Osborne, where handed off, and the program keeps moving along. That thing died.
Yeah. That's sad. I hope Ohio is able to bounce back eventually. Let's get to break. Come back with more, maybe some press clippings for you in the 1 o'clock hour. Scott Frost spoke to the media. We'll get to those at some point this coming hour.
You're listening to Tom and Bock. Watch live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch.
Tailgating is back, and Sartor Heyman Jewelers is offering a deal that'll really fire you up. Receive a free Traeger grill with a purchase of $2,500 or more. Take advantage of interest-free financing with no money down. Sartor Heyman has dazzling jewelry in every price range, so buy her the diamonds she's been dreaming of and get instantly rewarded with a free Traeger grill. Offer ends soon, so hurry in and get them while they're hot. Sartor Heyman Jewelers, a Nebraska tradition since 1905.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Sunny and hot conditions here for our Monday. We're topping out at 92. Winds will be relatively light out of the northeast at around 10. Mainly clear tonight, a low dropping down to around 60. We are sunny and hot again tomorrow with once again a high of around 92. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Another packed fall sports season means it's time to get to N Street Drive-In to fill up on all your beverage needs. Right now, they have tons of Oktoberfest beers, and you can check out their new Empyrean, New Belgium, and Prost selections as their beers of the month. Also, make sure to download the new N Street Drive-In app to order online and to set up delivery right to your front door. And don't forget their top-notch Crowler fill system. N Street Drive-In, your one-stop beverage shop at 1801 Oak Street. Action Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electric has been serving Lincoln and Southeast Nebraska for over 50 years. They've been a trusted name to deliver honest, quality services you can count on. It's always important to know someone you can trust, whether it's for your home or your business. Action is well established and offers convenience and reliability, always committed to a job done right. Give them a call or visit their website at actionlincoln.com. Action, your proud sponsor of the Ticket Postgame Show.
Early break with Sip and Jake.
Like, it's almost like what I read here it's surreal. According to Pro Football Focus data, Michigan State blitzed Nebraska 4 times on 47 dropbacks, but got pressure 28 times, including 7 sacks. Okay? They blitzed only 4 times on 47 dropbacks, but got pressure 28 times.
Early break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning.
Wakey, wakey, new breakfast at Casey's.
Wakey, wakey, new breakfast at Casey's. Do-do-do-do-do.
Wakey, wakey, breakfast, Casey's.
Casey's new breakfast, featuring delicious handmade sandwiches like this signature handheld made with our fresh made-from-scratch dough. Buy any hot breakfast item and get a coffee for just $1. Casey's, here for good.
Get into T.O. Haas Tire and get your vehicle set for any road with the all-new BF Goodrich Trail Terrain TA tire. And get ready to save, because right now you can get $70 back after online submission when you buy a set of 4. Or get $50 back with the purchase of any other set of 4 BF Goodrich passenger or light truck tires. See redemption instructions at tohaastire.com. Offer expires October 4th, 2021. Void where prohibited.
T.O. Haas, Tire and Auto, a tradition of trust.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. This is Tom and Bock, coming at you live from Coppell Chevrolet GMC Studios in the heart of Lincoln, America, on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here are your hosts, Tom Stevens.
I always tell people, I just hope they see a guy that loves what he does.
Jake Bockoven.
I didn't get any stupider, I know that. I have never been very smart.
Tom and Bock starts now.
Welcome in hour number 3 of Tom and Bock. I'm Tom Stevens. He's Jake Bockoven. We together, Tom and Bock. I think we're going to save the Big Ten Blitz until a little bit later on. Scott Frost did speak to the media today. And there were some interesting things. Is, a tough loss, so you're going to listen to every detail of a conversation after that. But Frost talking about getting benched, which happened to him when he was at Nebraska. Talks about how tough it is on the team, I believe. Well, let's just listen to the bite.
I played with a chip on my shoulder the rest of my career. And overall, I think we're a tough team physically. We got to be a tougher team mentally. It doesn't take any physical toughness to stay set and wait for a snap count. It doesn't take any physical toughness to let go of a quarterback when the whistle blows. Those are the things that we have to make the right decision in the moment. And I think overall, we're playing with a nasty attitude at a lot of positions. We need to find that nasty attitude at a couple others. And shaking things up or giving other guys opportunities, hopefully will lead to that.
That's an interesting discussion to me on being tough versus being mentally tough. Because Nebraska's pretty tough. They look like a pretty tough team, physically tough, and even in many cases, mentally tough. I think their eye discipline on defense is better than it's ever been. And that takes some mental toughness. But you also have the late hits, the DeAndre Thomas type thing, the Caleb Tanner type thing that costs you games. So when they do, mentally make a mistake, it's a big one. You saw one maybe minor mental mistake on the flea flicker in that game from the defense. Most of the mental mistakes Scott's referring to are on the offensive end. It's from the offensive lineman.
Oh yeah, and two, what I think something that's been a huge improvement from last year is any mistake last year kind of sank the team. I mean, and they would give up, give up a lot of yards and points right afterwards. A lot of these mistakes aren't leading to bad, ending results. They're overcoming a lot of these things, which, shows the talent that they have and their ability to stick with it. But obviously it does hurt, and it hurts in crucial moments. I'm very interested in what he said there at the end, where he said, maybe we can shake some stuff up and give guys at different positions more of an opportunity. That's interesting to me, especially on the offensive line, where maybe we're told about that depth all offseason. I mean, that was one of the things that we could build on if you're a Husker fan, is at least they're recruiting giants on the offensive line. Well, where are some of these guys if a few of your guys just aren't sticking together? It's not like if you replace a guy, you're messing up too much chemistry, because the chemistry doesn't seem to be there all that much. So I'm interested in that. And then obviously, special teams, it's you almost just got to put a bunch of starters in there. If I was a starter and I'm losing games on special teams, watching guys that maybe aren't on scholarship or young guys not quite, take care of the ball or whatever, or, get it done there. If I'm a starter and I'm losing games because of that, I'd say put me in, put us in and let us lose the game. If we're going to lose the game that way, let us, the guys that have been winning the game or putting in the work to win the game, lose it in our own hands. Even if we're tired, I'd do it.
Yeah. You mentioned the offensive line. It is interesting. I think he did talk more about shakeups in the middle of the Big Ten schedule. Let's listen.
There's just got to be expectations, and when expectations aren't met, I wouldn't say consequences, but there's going to be competition and opportunity for other people, and that doesn't mean we crumple anybody up and throw them away. This is a team thing. Had a long talk with the team this morning, and I feel really bad for the guys that are doing so many things right and playing at such a high level, and a couple little pieces and a couple decisions are costing us, and it probably cost us 2 or 3 games this year. I talked to him about, I essentially got benched for half part of a game my senior year, and things worked out pretty well. And I benched Adrian last year when he wasn't playing well enough, and he's playing at a elite level right now with some of the things he's doing. So that happens. That's life. And if those guys bounce back, a couple of them, that they're going to be fine. But you have two choices when something like that happens, and I hope they pick the right choice. And I think overall it's going to make us better as a unit.
Somebody persisted asking the question, do you see any shakeups on the offensive line?
We're going to look at it. There's some guys that I know have the ability to play better than what we've been playing at a few positions. So competition's always open, and we're going to give some other people a real shot.
Is there anybody that you would like to get some playing time, a shot on the offensive line?
Yeah, overall, I think we need to play better there. If we'd gotten good play there, we'd be in a completely different spot. And I think this year, special teams as well, it's kind of been a little bit here and a little bit there, but we got to find a left guard, and we got to play a little better at right tackle. And those are probably a couple of the spots we'll look at, but it's open competition everywhere.
Oh, he mentioned
the
positions.
He named them out.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't say the names, but you can kind of figure it out with a little detective work. Who is the left guard and who is the right tackle? I've heard Sean mention that, and in one of his discussions, that maybe you move Benhart inside to guard, and I mean, Teddy Prohaska is not redshirting, so maybe that's a name that you really like, and move him to right tackle or left tackle, and then Corcoran could either stay where he is or move to a different tackle spot. But I mean, he's saying left guard and right tackle. He's pointing them out.
Well, and they've already kind of done the rotation at guard there. So that's been kind of evident. But Benhart did. I mean, he had a tough game, and he's had a pretty tough year. Like I said, I mean, he just looked outmatched in that game. Yeah. So it's interesting to see the experience. And again, like he said, a benching doesn't mean the end of the world, or you go and transfer or anything like that. It's just it's an adjustment that you have to make mentally, and then maybe it can help you grow and get better. And certainly for most of these guys, it's a very young offensive line, and that's why I think some people and probably certainly the coaching staff has been wanting to wait with them and see if they can quite, kind of get there. But like he said, it's and he said it in a couple of clips there, they could have won all these games. They could be 5-0. They could at least be 4-1 with a little bit offensive line play and better special teams. And that's what's holding the team back right now. It doesn't take a genius to see it. He sees it. We all see it. It's time to make some adjustments or at least try some things to make it better.
Well, one thing to try maybe is a special teams coordinator who doesn't coach another position, and that he's a full-time special teams coordinator. And until Nebraska gets magically better on special teams, which I don't anticipate just suddenly happen, then that discussion is going to stay there. I'm surprised he wasn't asked a little, maybe more about, you don't want to do it in season, I guess, pick on somebody who currently is the special teams coordinator. And I think a very good coach in Mike Dawson with plenty of NFL special teams experience. It's just that when your time is divided and somebody else is providing their full-time attention to that, then sometimes in a league like the Big Ten with elite coaches, you'll get exposed. They'll look for details, and there are really good coaches that do it.
Well, and I know then there's some, people I see on the text line that are, you can kind of blame the players individually because the coach is, not hitting a 7-yard punt or missing a 33-yard field goal or whatever. But when it's the whole, like your whole kicking staff, like every kicker that you have is just off, it's just not right. There's something in the coaching there. If one guy's doing right and one guy, maybe it's a mental thing for that one guy, but it's all of their all their specialists are just missing and missing badly in certain situations, other than, like we said, their kickoff.
But also their kick returns aren't great. The punt returns aren't great. They're not catching the ball.
They gave up because punt returns have been so bad. They give up so many yards just not touching it. Yeah. Which maybe, like, I've heard the complaints about it, but at least they didn't fumble them. Maybe they're like so scared of making their own mistakes that they're giving up yards there, which might be the right decision based on the ineptitude they've had so far this year returning punts.
Yeah, it's everywhere. I mean, they gave up a 41-yard kickoff return, a 28-yard kickoff return. They had a punt 7 yards. They had a punt that was 28. They gave up a touchdown return. They've missed field goals throughout the year. They've had shanks. They've had just a disaster of a special teams. There's no way you could give it any grade but an F.
Yeah.
It's been
every week.
And if there was a grade, if you could give a G, I would give a G.
Yeah.
I mean, it's bad. Let's get to the Big Ten Blitz.
The Big Ten Blitz. The Big Ten Blitz. The Big Ten Blitz. The Big Ten Blitz.
I meant to rank these before I did each and every game, but I'll just go through the games and then I'll do my ranking at the end.
All right.
So maybe not the most efficient thing in the world, but Notre Dame, number 12 in the country and 4-0, beat Wisconsin, who's now 1-2. 41-13, Wisconsin led by 3 points going into that fourth quarter. You had 2 pick sixes given up by Graham Mertz. You had 4 interceptions in the game. Jack Cohn even left the game. Pine came in and played pretty well. Notre Dame had a kickoff return for a touchdown. Some of the same things that are plaguing Nebraska, plaguing Wisconsin, because they have a really good defense, but they can't run the ball. It reminds me of a team I know. Wisconsin is somewhat similar to Nebraska right now.
Yeah, and their running game didn't get going against Notre Dame. They've been able to run here and there. Graham Mertz is a real problem. I mean, he's just not the answer there.
Yeah.
Their defense, like you said, really good. Held Notre Dame to 9 yards rushing, and that's Kyron Williams. That's one of the best running backs in the nation. He only had 33. With the sacks, it goes back to 9. But Graham Mertz now 1 touchdown to 6 interceptions, including 2 of those pick six late. It was a closer game. That's the one thing that you should note from that is Wisconsin was closer in a tie game going into the fourth quarter. So the loss is not as bad as it looks, but Wisconsin, especially coming after last year where you figured, well, they just bounced back because they're Wisconsin. Maybe some of that deterioration is starting to seep in on Paul Chryst.
Brian Kelly became the all-time wins leader in Notre Dame football history. First over Ara Parseghian and Nuke Rockne. And Lou Holtz. It's a good list, and he is number 1 on it. Next week, they've got Michigan. That is Wisconsin, so that'll be interesting there. Penn State versus Villanova. Hard to learn anything from that game. They win 38-17. Sean Clifford did throw for 401 yards, 19 of 26 in that game. Villanova is not a terrible FCS team, but I'm not sure I learned anything there.
Well, Penn State still struggles to get the run game going. 2.4 yards per rush against Villanova. It's got to be better than that. They've had one game where they ran well this year. And Clifford, like you said, threw for over 400. They've only had one other quarterback do that. Can you name him? Penn State?
Let's see. No, I can't.
How about the wonderful Christian Hackenberg? He was supposed to be the next big thing.
Under Bill O'Brien.
Yeah, that's right.
And Bill O'Brien did a good job with that team. And Hackenberg was the number one. Yeah, he didn't turn out to be very good as far as the pros are concerned, but he was a good college quarterback.
Yeah, solid.
Next week, they play Indiana. That is Penn State. So how much you learn, depending on what you think of Indiana.
Yeah.
Number 19, Michigan, 20-13 over Rutgers. They had a 23 lead and then got really conservative. Rutgers, turns out, is very good. I mean, they're very solid. Noah Vedral, though, had a key fumble that kind of cost them. They're at Wisconsin this week. What'd you learn from Michigan this week?
Well, it's more of what you kind of expected is that they completely rely on the ground, and the ground game probably isn't as dominant as it has been in some games. They averaged 350 yards going into that game. That was leading the nation, just 112. So you got to give Schiano a lot of credit for keeping them in that game, because once they figured it out, it was like Michigan in that third quarter. They were 0 for 4 on drives on getting a first down.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Rutgers defense kept them in that game and even outgained Michigan. But that's the thing. Michigan looks very beatable. You get them ABC primetime 2 weeks from now. Just beat Northwestern, and you got a pretty good game coming up there that can get you some national attention. Who'd you say Michigan has? Because hopefully they stand.
Michigan has Wisconsin this week.
That'll be a close one.
That'll be a good.
Hopefully
That's in
one.
Madison. Rutgers has Ohio State, but Ohio State has to go there. And Rutgers has a good defense. It'll be at least an interesting test from that perspective. We'll see if C.J. Stroud is back. I bet he will be. Purdue beat Illinois 13-9. Yeah, that's right. 13-9. Aiden O'Connell. Remember, he beat Nebraska a few years ago.
Yikes.
Had a 14-yard touchdown pass with about 5:44 left. It was the only TD in the game. Next week, Purdue has Indiana, and Illinois is home versus Minnesota.
Yeah, I don't think there's too much to learn in that game. The Boilermakers, for what it's worth, didn't have like their best running backs or receivers. I mean, they were kind of beat up going into that game. But now you've got a bit of a quarterback controversy, man. Jack Plummer started off the season pretty solid.
Right.
And then Aiden O'Connell came in there and threw 2 interceptions in his first 2 drives, but they stuck with him. He got the only touchdown drive of the game. And that's not a game I'll rewatch. I don't think I'm going to go.
Purdue's not great, but they only lost by 14, outgained Notre Dame in that game, and they're 3-1.
They're going to be a solid game. I know we're chucking that up as a win. That Nebraska should win. That'll be a close game.
They've got a good defense too, and they can throw it around the yard. Bowling Green, the biggest upset of the weekend, beat Minnesota 14-10. Minnesota was a 31.5-point favorite, I believe, in that game, and are now 2-2. PJ Fleck stood up at the mic and blamed himself. That was kind of cool that he did that, but their non-conference winning streak at 21 is over. That's a big surprise to me.
Yeah, it was, because Minnesota looked really good. I mean, they were just on the outside of the top 25. Obviously destroyed Colorado, limited them like 69 yards rushing. Still limited Bowling Green to like 22 yards rushing. But they did get 2 rushing touchdowns from the quarterback to beat the Golden Gophers. Like you said, I mean, this breaks a long winning streak for the non-Power 5 games for Minnesota. I was disappointed because I want the Big Ten to be good, and that's a very ugly loss for Minnesota. But that's the type of game they play, right? Is a lot of these teams is just gonna, keep you in the game. Hopefully, wear you out at the end. You lose a close game once in a while when you play that way.
I don't think the Big Ten West is good outside of Iowa, and I'm not sure how good Iowa is. But all those teams look beatable.
Yeah.
But Nebraska has proven that it doesn't really matter at times because they play down to their competition. Evan Hall of Northwestern is really pretty good. And that's what they did, was run the ball with him. 216 yards in that game, 2 TDs. He had a 90-yarder. Was it a 90-yarder in that game? Holinsky was okay, not great. They don't have a quarterback. Hunter Johnson was replaced with Ryan Holinsky. But at least they're running the ball. They're going a lot with big personnel packages. They'll be tough to beat because they're usually well coached. Even though they haven't been so far this year, but their record is better than Nebraska's.
Northwestern. Yeah, I think this is a game Nebraska should win by a few touchdowns. I'm not impressed with Northwestern this year. They had a lot to replace, including their defensive coordinator. It's got off to a slow start. Like you said, Ryan Olinsky, 12 of 20 for 88 yards. That's not going to get it done against, especially when Nebraska's defense. So I think they should win that game. And for what it's worth, like I said, I included what's his name, Hull, in my list of top 10 players this week. But you got to watch out for him. The last 2 years, he's had his best games. He's basically had just like one good game each of the last 2 years against inferior competition. He did that again against Ohio.
You had him at number 8 on box tops with 216 yards. Maryland looking good, 37-16 over Kent State. A team that Iowa struggled with Kent State, and that's who Maryland has coming up this week. Or actually, I should say Maryland is playing Iowa this week, 2 weeks in a row. They've got Iowa this week, then Ohio State the following week. So we'll learn a lot more about Maryland. But Talia Tagovailoa, 384 and 3 TDs. He's a pretty good quarterback.
Yeah, I think right now him and Adrian are probably battling it out for the top quarterback in the league right now. It is that way in the stat column for passing yards. So that's going to be interesting. And, they played down to Illinois last week, which was really weird. So you kind of get your bounce back week here. I certainly could see them getting an upset win in the next 2 weeks against Iowa or Ohio State. I mean, because they've got the talent to do it, if they can put it all together. Their first 4-0 start since 2016. Yeah. So they got something rolling down there.
Maryland is recruiting at a high level, and they're playing at a high level. They're 4-0. Ohio State, no problem with Akron over the weekend, 59-7. Kyle McCord starting in place of C.J. Stroud, had a sore shoulder and played pretty well. 319 yards, 2 TDs. He did have 1 pick. Travion Henderson, I don't know if we talk about him being the best back in the league enough, but he should get a lot of mention. But he's a freshman. Ran for 93 yards, didn't play but half a game, 2 TDs. He averages 11 per carry. They've got Rutgers this week, so we'll learn a little bit more about Ohio State again this week.
Yeah, Travion Henderson, it was expected. He's like the number 1 recruit in the nation going to Ohio State. You could see it in the first few games where like he had those flashes, and then they finally started to rely on him. He's going to have a special season, and I think he's going to be the focal point of their offense as the season goes on.
He's so fast, and yet he's big. Good combination if you're a running back, big and fast. And he's got both of those. I think he's the best, most talented. I don't know if he's the best running back in the league. He's the most talented. Number 5, Iowa over Colorado State. It wasn't easy. They went 24-14. Spencer Petras, 224 through the air, a couple of touchdowns. Iowa's now won 10 in a row going back to last year, but they can't run the ball. Tyler Goodson ran for 57 yards, 3.2 a carry for Iowa. They ran for 54 total yards. So it was everybody. Tyler Goodson had positive yardage, but there were like 5 guys with negative yards rushing. But they did hold their opponent to under 24. Again, they have the longest streak, 26 in the country, holding their opponent 24 or under.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite stats in the nation right now. They also now, because Minnesota lost, have the longest non-conference winning streak at 15. But they were down. They were down at halftime. And then they needed, because they don't have a very good offense, they needed some trickeration. We're in a Statue of Liberty type play to score on the end around to get a touchdown there. But it's just fun to watch them play because you could just see it happening in front of your eyes, like the sound, good quality team. They use special teams to pin Colorado State deep, and then Colorado State fumbles, and then Iowa's got field position, and it just slowly turned that game over, just the way Iowa prepares it for you. Give you a chance, take it away as the game goes on.
You're the only one that thinks sound fundamental football is sexy.
It is awesome.
It is so sexy
to watch.
They've got Maryland, as we mentioned this week. Iowa, number 5 in the country, way overrated, but they're the best team in the West. There's no doubt about that.
Hopefully they win that game, only because I want to see Iowa Penn State top 10 the next week. Big Noon's going to be there.
Nice.
That'll be really fun.
Indiana may not be very good. I don't know how good Western Kentucky is, but they barely beat them 33-31. So might tell you a little bit about Iowa and maybe even Cincinnati, who they barely lost to, or not lost to by very much anyway. Stephen Carr did have 2 TD runs, only 109 yards on 25 carries. Michael Penix had a huge day, 373 through 53 times. They've got Penn State this week, though. So that's going to be tough.
Yeah, they're a really tough read right now. Indiana looks like they probably just depending on the day how you're going to get them. They never trailed in that game, so give them credit for that, even though it's a close game. But career high for Michael Penix Jr., but no touchdowns. But thankfully for him, what's been the problem is interceptions. No interceptions this past week either.
I guess we'll find out how good Western Kentucky is this week. We should know, but they play Michigan State this week, Western Kentucky. So an odd week for Michigan State playing. They're the only team in the league playing a non-conference opponent. Number 14, my rankings. See if you agree or disagree, Bock. I'll give you the floor after I mentioned I've got Illinois 14. That sounds about right. I don't think there's a lot of debate there. Number 13, I've got Northwestern.
Yeah, I like that one.
Number 12, I have Nebraska.
Ooh.
Until you win these games, I think they're better than a lot of these teams in the league. I think
more talented.
They're more talented, and I think in some cases on defense, better coached. But they're number 12 due to what the record is. Number 11, I've got Wisconsin.
Ooh, that's pretty low. That's a big drop for them.
They are 1-2
Yeah.
on the year. They've only played 3 games, but they have looked terrible at times, especially at quarterback. Number 10, I've got Minnesota. Coming off a horrible loss to Boise, one of the worst losses. I want to say it's the worst loss since like 2014 of a team favored by that much.
Oh, yeah.
31 points, 31.
It was Bowling Green.
Bowling Green was not, they're not good.
They're not good.
That's their first win or second win of the year.
The first win of the year.
I think it was the first win of the year. Got Indiana at number 9. What do you think?
Yeah, I would probably put Wisconsin in ahead of them, but yeah.
Purdue's playing good defense. They've only given up 54 points on the year. They're 3-1. They have a nice, not great wins, but they have a nice win over Oregon State, and they beat Illinois, a team that Nebraska lost to.
Yeah.
We'll see, but they are 3-1. I think Nebraska should beat them when they play them.
They've got a pretty good chance to get to a bowl.
Absolutely. At number 7, I've got Rutgers.
Yeah, I like that. Moving up the Scarlet Knights.
Rutgers is at 3-1. They played Michigan all the way down to the end. Noah Vedral had a fumble, which was kind of costly, but that defense is good. The special teams are good. I think Greg Schiano is easily one of the top 3 coaches in this league. He's very good, and he's turning it around quickly. Number 6, I've got Maryland at 4-0. Any problem? Higher or lower for Maryland?
They're just a tough team to read. Like I said last week when they played Illinois, that caused a lot of us to drop them in these sort of rankings. But they certainly have a chance to move up these rankings because I do. They can push Iowa. They can definitely push Ohio State. They could be a top 25 team here in a few weeks.
Michigan, I've got at number 5. Yes, they're undefeated. I don't know who they are. But they struggled.
They have an identity. I think you know who they are, but it's not perfect.
I don't know how good they are.
Yeah.
I do know their identity is running the football, and they've got a couple of really good rushers, and they've got a very good defense. So maybe that's the reason you play that way. But Cade McNown, when they're going to need him to win a game, can he do that?
Cade McNamara. Cade McNown is a great throwback to a Rose Bowl UCLA quarterback.
Thank you.
Bears fans don't like that.
I wonder why that's stuck in my brain.
Yeah.
Cade McNamara. And they've got a 5-star JJ, the other guy that's kind of looking for that job as well. But it looks like McNamara has won the gig, and I'm not sure he's very good. Michigan State,
it's weird because they're a running team, and he doesn't add much to the run.
Yeah.
You would think if they're such a rushing team, he'd have a mobile quarterback. Right. He doesn't do much.
But they've tried a lot of names.
Yeah.
The McCaffreys, Milton.
Yeah.
Now, and they're on their 5th quarterback, it seems like, in the last 2 years. They're always going musical chairs on that one. Number 4, I've got Michigan State.
Sparty, undefeated.
Number 3, I've got Iowa. They're undefeated. They had 2 really good wins, but then Iowa State loses again this weekend.
Yeah.
How great are those wins that we all talked about? Indiana and Iowa.
Yeah, they're not looking as good. But again, then you have to go back to, did Iowa mentally do that to them? So maybe,
Yeah, that's possible. Number 2, I still think the most talented team, and it's not a stretch, is Ohio State. And I think they're the second best team in this entire Big Ten.
Yeah.
You'd probably put Iowa ahead of them. I'm guessing you would. And then number 1, I don't know that they're a great team, and I have the same concerns that you do about Penn State. Can they run the ball well enough? But their defense is really good. They're gritty, and maybe they get better. But they're the best. They're the best team in the league. But I'm not sure that the Big Ten has a team that can make it to the college football playoff.
I'm not sure either. But it will be interesting to follow because Sean Clifford's going to have to carry that team if they do make it. And Sean Clifford, a guy was benched last year against Nebraska before that game. and he might be an all Big Ten quarterback by season's end. So it's going to be a fun race. I like your rankings. I think you're beating Wisconsin now. I know they're 1-2, but 2 top 10 losses. But Graham Mertz looks awful. I just don't know if I'd have him that low yet.
I think they're similar to Nebraska, and I have Nebraska at 12, and I have Wisconsin 11. We'll see. They play Michigan this week, so I guess we'll know more after that game, right?
Yeah.
That'll be a fun game to watch this week. 2 teams that I still don't know who they are. I think I know more about Wisconsin than I do Michigan, but I think it could be a coin flip type game, and it's in Madison, I believe. So there you go. Let's go to break. Come back with more on Tom and Bock.
Download our app by searching 93.7 The Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day long wherever you are. This is Tom and Bock.
Tailgating is back, and Sartor Heyman Jewelers is offering a deal that'll really fire you up. Receive a free Traeger grill with a purchase of $2,500 or more. Take advantage of interest-free financing with no money down. Sartor Heyman has dazzling jewelry in every price range, so buy her the diamonds she's been dreaming of and get instantly rewarded with a free Traeger grill. Offer ends soon, so hurry in and get them while they're hot. Sartor Heyman Jewelers, a Nebraska tradition since 1905.
Early break with Sip and Jake.
Like, it's almost like what I read here is it's surreal. According to Pro Football Focus data, Michigan State blitzed Nebraska 4 times on 47 dropbacks, but got pressure 28 times, including 7 sacks. Okay? They blitzed only 4 times on 47 dropbacks, but got pressure 28 times.
Early break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning.
Get into T.O. Haas Tire and get your vehicle set for any road with the all-new BF Goodrich Trail Terrain TA tire. And get ready to save, because right now you can get $70 back after online submission when you buy a set of 4. Or get $50 back with the purchase of any other set of 4 BF Goodrich passenger or light truck tires. See redemption instructions at tohaastire.com. Offer expires October 4th, 2021. Void where prohibited.
T.O. Haas, Tire and Auto, a tradition of trust.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Sunny and hot conditions here for our Monday. We're topping out at 92. Winds will be relatively light out of the northeast at around 10. Mainly clear tonight, a low dropping down to around 60. We are sunny and hot again tomorrow, with once again a high of around 92. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air's motto is our family serving yours. That starts with how we hire. We go through an extensive interview process to really get to know you and show you who we are. We want to help you build a great career, be challenged, have fun, and bring home an excellent weekly paycheck. We offer competitive wages with benefits, including a day off for your birthday. Apply to be a part of the John Henry's family at jhlincoln.com. That's jhlincoln.com.
John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air.
The dangers of secondhand smoke are well known, but what about secondhand aerosol, which is created when using e-cigarettes? Science already shows a secondhand aerosol can contain nicotine, heavy metals, and cancer-causing agents. Eliminating exposure to secondhand aerosol is an important step to keeping everyone safe. Breathe easier knowing the facts.
For help quitting, call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Action Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electric has been serving Lincoln and Southeast Nebraska for over 50 years. They've been a trusted name to deliver honest, quality services you can count on. It's always important to know someone you can trust, whether it's for your home or your business. Action is well established and offers convenience and reliability, always committed to a job done right. Give them a call or visit their website at actionlincoln.com. Action, your proud sponsor of the Ticket Postgame Show.
Wakey, wakey, new breakfast at Casey's.
Wakey, wakey, new breakfast at Casey's. Do-do-do-do-do.
Wakey, wakey, breakfast, Casey's.
Casey's new breakfast, featuring delicious handmade sandwiches like this signature handheld made with our fresh made-from-scratch dough. Buy any hot breakfast item and get a coffee for just $1. Casey's, here for good.
Your home should not be a zoo to unwelcomed animals. Let the experts at Bats to Rats take care of those problems. Dane has been a leader in wildlife and pest management and prevention in Lincoln and the surrounding area for 15 years. He can help you get rid of bats, rodents, and anything else. Whether it's residential or commercial buildings, schools, apartments, or churches, they're always a phone call away. Call today at 402-310-0904 or visit batstorats.com. Bats to Rats Wildlife Control and Prevention.
Experiencing increased body fat, low sex drive, lack of energy, or general fatigue? Vitalize Health offers testosterone replacement therapy and peptide therapy to boost hormone levels and build muscle mass. Call Vitalize Health today at 402-413-0717 or go online to vitalizehealthne.com.
You're listening to Tom and Bock on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back. It is Tom and Bock. Final half an hour. I want to have a discussion about parity in college football, but this off the text line 464-5685. So you're basically saying no conference has a team good enough to make the college football playoffs except for the SEC. They're kind of feeling like that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So you're going to take somebody by default. You're probably going to take two teams from the SEC, Alabama, Georgia, or Florida.
Yeah.
You probably won't take three, but you'll get two in.
Ole Miss, they get the win this week. You believe in Lane Kiffin?
Lane Kiffin can score.
Yeah.
And their defense has improved. That'll be fun to watch.
That'll be a great game this week.
That'll be a must-see game.
We're not going to see it.
We're not going to.
It's an hour before the Nebraska, or half an hour before. No, I think it kicks at 2:30. But we'll
you
be
could
doing
go to
pregame.
Tanner's and watch.
Yeah, we'll watch it at Tanner's.
We'll watch it at Tanner's. So you could do that. Go to Tanner's, and they get all the TVs there, and you get all the food to go with it. But you're right. So it just makes me think: is there a team from the Big Ten good enough to make the college football playoff? Maybe Penn State. Maybe Ohio State if they run the table. I'm not convinced with Iowa, but who knows? They'll probably get their shot. I don't feel like any team is good enough. I mean, the ACC is certainly not good enough this year.
No, it's going to, I don't think so. The ACC is almost dead on arrival now, but it's going to be a resume year. You know, sometimes it's not the teams that look like the teams with, you know, the eye that are going to pass the eye test. That Michigan State team that made it, that lost to Nebraska, you know, that's a bad loss. There's going to be some teams with bad losses in here. I just think they're going to be one loss team. So as you see these teams like Clemson get their second loss, you know, it kind of eliminates them. And to me, that's what I love. I mean, this is college football regular season at its best, where you don't know which teams are going to be there. So it's just going to be a ride all season long to see who can stick within one loss and have a chance there at the end to get in that playoff. And you know, if you change it to you have 8 to 12 teams, well, then Clemson's not eliminated, and definitely an ACC teams getting in. So again, I'll change it this year. I'll scream at the top of every mountain I can to keep it the way it is, to keep the regular season relevant, because the next 2 weeks is just top 10 teams, top 15 teams playing each other, little eliminators, little kind of playoff games in their own right, playing out in front of us, and it's just going to be fascinating.
It was one of those weekends where there weren't many good college football games, and yet there were a ton of great games. We were looking at the schedule thinking this is going to be a bad weekend. And then you get the upsets with, you know, North Carolina State. You get Iowa State getting beat by Baylor in a week where you weren't even looking at that type of game. You get Minnesota losing to Bowling Green. It's like we looked at this list and we were going, there aren't 10 good games in college football and the NFL combined. And then it turns out it's parity. It feels like parity has arrived in college football. And even at the very top where Alabama, Clemson, and then parity. No, Clemson's already lost twice. They should have lost before overtime on a field goal kick. North Carolina State still able to win that game. They're not good. Maryland or Clemson's defensively they are. But it feels like maybe parity. We've seen Oklahoma, not just Nebraska. This week, they look very vulnerable. They win 16-13 over West Virginia.
They never led till the end.
Yeah. Arkansas is a big story in college football.
Sudden,
Arkansas not only beats Texas A&M this weekend. It feels like, and you like it, right? You're a big fan of parity. I know Connor is. I know Hap loves the fact that parity, he thinks, like I do, has arrived in college football.
Well, and there's just different ways to look at it. The last 2 years have been pretty fun because at the end of the year, you can sit back and say, is that the greatest team we've ever seen? With LSU 2 years ago, and then Alabama last year. You're not going to get that team. You're not going to have an all-time great team this season. So maybe so it just kind of depends on what you like. I do like parity. I do like the fact that some of these names that we know, it's kind of catching up to them, right? Oklahoma and Clemson are ones I specifically look at where it just got to a point where we're going, doesn't matter who's quarterback, that's going to be great. And it shows you that it's harder to replace. I mean, you can't just have three, like Oklahoma, you can't just have three NFL starters back to back to back, and it's just going to keep going in the 4 and 5 and 6. It's going to be difficult. And Spencer Rattler was booed off at his home stadium at times.
I know. We want Caleb. Yeah. Caleb Walker is the backup, and then the fans were screaming, "We want Caleb." And he didn't play that terrible. His crime is he's not Kyler Murray and he's not Baker Mayfield. I mean, that's his fault. I could have told you last year that he wasn't those guys. And now Oklahoma fans who are spoiled rotten now want a change at quarterback.
Well, that and he got a bit of the Adrian Martinez stuff going on right there, right? Where preseason, there's nobody else to say that's the Heisman. So everybody goes, well, default, it's the Oklahoma quarterback. And he just he's not that level.
No.
But nevertheless, the betting odds, everybody's going, you talk about it for 8 months of an offseason. Oh, that's the guy. That's the best quarterback in the nation. He's not. He never was. He was just the kind of the default option because Alabama and Clemson and teams are replacing their quarterbacks. But how about that? How about Clemson? Where I can't say his name, Uiagalelei.
Yeah.
It's kind of a tough one.
I don't do a good job with it. I just say DJ.
He got the Dr. Pepper deal, and I know that's kind of silly, but of all the this NIL stuff, they chose him. Dr. Pepper's like one of the biggest brands. They chose him, so he got paid because they just thought they saw a few games where he had the talent around him that Trevor Lawrence did, and he looked great. And now it doesn't look so great. And that's
you wonder the distraction associated with name, image, and likeness. You mentioned DJ.
Maybe.
Taking a big step back, he gets the contract. It's happened even closer to home.
Yeah.
On the volleyball program. I mean, and you would understand you're suddenly in the business world. You have a chance to make a little money. As a volleyball player, you probably don't at the next level. Not great money anyway.
Right.
And so you see how that could become a distraction for anyone. I'm interested in this Ewers kid at Ohio State who's already a millionaire. How does it affect Bryce Young going forward at Alabama? Nick Saban can usually nip those things in the bud. And everybody's different in how they handle these things. But college has become, it's always been a business. I'm not lying and saying it hasn't, but it's become much more of a business than ever before. And then you get a paycheck to go with it, and you're going, why should I go to work today?
But I mean, there's been guys too. I mean, that could be part of it, but there's always guys overhyped and don't quite live up to the expectation. I'm just fascinated because Dabo Swinney has, kind of earned the right to be put up there with Saban and all the all-time greats. But you get to a point where I remember with Mac Brown, I always go back to his run when he had Major Applewhite and Chris Sims and Vince Young and Colt McCoy, and you're going, this guy's just quarterback genius. He's at Texas. He's going to get the guy whenever he wants. And then his downfall at Texas was the next, string of quarterbacks after those guys were not good. And, so at Clemson, when you have 4 years of Deshaun Watson followed by 4 years of Trevor Lawrence, you just get into this feeling, Dabo Swinney is just going to get the guy. He's just a genius at quarterback. He's going to get the best quarterback recruits he can recruit, but it's harder to win than it is that we make it sometimes on paper for the coaches, and especially, these college programs. Alabama, again, it fascinates me. They were preseason ranked number 1. They're ranked number 1 now. But they had to replace a first round at quarterback, running back, and wide receiver. That's a tough thing to do.
6 guys in total, right? In that first round, something like that. They had to replace a lot of talent, and yet they still do it. But that was a winnable game for Florida. There, they don't seem like the Alabama of old, and they're not running the ball at a high level. That's one of the alert signals for me. The alarm bells sound when a team is winning, kind of like Ohio State, but they're not winning in a certain way. It's not good. Oh, wait a minute. They're passing too much. They threw for 570 yards and they only ran for 100. So there's got to be, there
needs more balance.
That's right. You got to have more balance. But I tend to think that way. And I think sometimes we think, maybe that's their vulnerability. If you can stop them through the air, you got them. or if they make them one-dimensional, maybe you got them.
Well, and I'll say this: parity. I mean, the Big Ten East is incredible, but parity has certainly hit the Big Ten West.
Northwestern is not good. I
No.
think I've got them ranked 13th on my list. I've got Michigan, who I don't know yet. I mean, nobody knows about Michigan yet. They look good, and I think the defense is good, but they weren't overly impressive, certainly against Rutgers this past Saturday. Then Minnesota. They have a great win in Colorado where they shut them down. And then the following week, they are a 31-point favorite and lose to Bowling Green. Purdue seems like Purdue. So I guess the good thing about parity, and maybe why it excites fans, is you look at Nebraska's schedule, for example, and you think they all look about the same as us.
Yeah.
They got a lot of flaws.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, sometimes we get too focused in on Nebraska to think we're the only team that looks awful and has these awful plays here and there. But, everybody's dealing with a lot. There's no perfect team in college football. Everybody's got their flaws. You got to overcome them. For Nebraska, I think it's at least very identifiable what their flaws are. Sometimes it's better that way. At least you can game plan around it than, some teams going in and who knows what's going to hit this week and that week.
Game plan around not punting? I mean,
pretty much.
They did take the field goal off the table, Nebraska. I was like, you could tell Nebraska at certain times during the night was trying to get into 4th and 2. Let's get to 4th and 2, and then we'll go for it instead of relying on a field goal.
Pretty good at fourth down.
Well, when you've got a quarterback, and you've got a quarterback like that who can execute that, it makes a big difference. But special teams, obviously, a huge problem. And it does feel like parity. At least, small sample size. It's still early in the season. It feels like there is more parity in college football. Clemson being the big, I guess, example over the weekend. Let's get to break and finish out. Eat the leftovers to round the show next.
You're listening to Tom and Bock. Watch live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning. Now in our new time, we're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and wait 30 days after winning a prize before participating in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the KNTK Studios, 330 North 48th Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeited. Thank you for participating in our contest, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
Liberty First Credit Union is here to help you save time and money. Get a consolidation loan and conveniently combine all of your loans into one, leaving you with one fixed payment and one low-rate loan. Not a member? That's okay. Join Liberty First Credit Union at any of the 4 Lincoln locations, Seward, and in Omaha at 108th and L Street. Start saving with Liberty First Credit Union. Apply for a consolidation loan now at libertyfirstcu.com today. Approval required. Equal opportunity lender. Liberty First Credit Union. Banking with purpose.
Tailgating is back, and Sartor Heyman Jewelers is offering a deal that'll really fire you up. Receive a free Traeger grill with a purchase of $2,500 or more. Take advantage of interest-free financing with no money down. Sartor Heyman has dazzling jewelry in every price range, so buy her the diamonds she's been dreaming of and get instantly rewarded with a free Traeger grill. Offer ends soon, so hurry in and get them while they're hot. Sartor Heyman Jewelers, a Nebraska tradition since 1905.
The dangers of secondhand smoke are well known. But what about secondhand aerosol, which is created when using e-cigarettes? Science already shows a secondhand aerosol can contain nicotine, heavy metals, and cancer-causing agents. Eliminating exposure to secondhand aerosol is an important step to keeping everyone safe. Breathe easier knowing the facts.
For help quitting, call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
If you're struggling to get motivated to work out, you're not alone. And Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping is here to help. Build muscle, burn fat, and lose weight with Farrell's 10-week challenge starting October 2nd. Farrell's combines kickboxing with inclusive strength training and nutrition planning to help you stay on track. Go to fxblincoln.com to sign up, and if you mention the ticket, you'll get a 50% discount. It's the Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping 10-week challenge starting October 2nd with 2 locations in Lincoln.
Hi, this is Kurt, your shop manager at A1 Automotive here in downtown Lincoln. My promise to you is this: you won't find another automotive repair facility that genuinely cares about you and your vehicle. Our service is outstanding and our customer service is better. Please give me a call for all your automotive repair questions and needs. Call me at 402-477-4660. We were built on small town values, and that shows in how we treat others. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
Wakey, wakey, new breakfast at Casey's.
Wakey, wakey, new breakfast at Casey's. Do-do-do-do-do.
Wakey, wakey, breakfast, Casey's.
Casey's new breakfast, featuring delicious handmade sandwiches like this signature handheld made with our fresh made-from-scratch dough. Buy any hot breakfast item and get a coffee for just $1. Casey's, here for good.
Another packed fall sports season means it's time to get to N Street Drive-In to fill up on all your beverage needs. Right now, they have tons of Oktoberfest beers, and you can check out their new Empyrean, New Belgium, and Prost selections as their beers of the month. Also, make sure to download the new N Street Drive-In app to order online and to set up delivery right to your front door. And don't forget their top-notch Crowler fill system. N Street Drive-In, your one-stop beverage shop at 1801 Oak Street.
Starting the right career is one of the most important decisions you'll ever make. You want to enjoy your career, be challenged, have fun, earn a great weekly paycheck, and work for a great company. If you're looking for a career change or right out of high school, the John Henry's Plumbing Apprentice Program may be the perfect answer. You'll get paid while getting hands-on training. We focus on your skills while you engage in real-world learning. Why not join the John Henry's team today? Apply at jhlincoln.com. That's jhlincoln.com.
John Henry's Plumbing, heating and air.
You're listening to Tom and Bock on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Tucker's ready. There's the snap. Spot down. Kick on the way. It is up and it is off the crossbar and through. Oh my goodness. Are you kidding me? Justin Tucker from 66 hit the crossbar and it bounced through.
That was awesome. The NFL record broke Matt Prater's record.
Yeah.
That was 65 when he was in Denver, and that doesn't really count. I mean, because altitude, you're cheating already. A lot of the records, I remember, seeing field goals all the time, 55-yarders growing up, and nobody kicked 55-yarders if you were in Denver. I mean, it's well known that the altitude affects the ball.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it is fascinating to watch as a fan of kickers to see this like change because it did used to be like a 55-yarder would be as long as you'd go. Now NFL guys are regularly trying 63, 60 yards. I mean, the Cardinals tried one yesterday, got returned 109 yards for a touchdown.
Right. Yeah,
because it was like a 60-some yarder.
That backfired. Of course, the longest kick I believe in Nebraska football history, Alex Henry, 57 yards. Colorado, I remember being so mad because they were even attempting a 57-yard field goal with a guy who had the lesser leg of Adi Kanalik.
That's right.
Who was there when we always thought Adi was, the bigger leg. And I was already mad because Joe Gans had just taken a 15-yard sack. You were right there in field goal range, and now you're trying a 57-yarder. I was cussing at everybody around me. I got up. I went down. It was in the North Stadium. I ended up right in front of the goalposts when Alex made that kick. And I was hugging everybody.
That was just incredible. I mean, if he misses that's bad news.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a great win. That was a 9-3 year. That was a great year. I mean, I wish I had those times back that you're remembering things that you're like, if you compare it to the 90s, it's just still garbage. But but for that time.
Well, and that was Bo's first year, right? So, I mean, there was still momentum in the program. And, yeah, things were heading in the right direction.
Yeah, 2008. And Joe had a really good year. And, by the way, who'd they beat in the bowl game? Clemson. I want to eat the leftovers before we round out the show. I don't know if you saw this. Nebraska played Michigan State, of course. There's a fan kicking a field goal, trying to kick a field goal to win a brand new vehicle, a brand new car, but he falls over on the field, just falls down.
Was this halftime or something?
It was good. Yeah, it was at halftime, and you could see them almost backing the car back in the garage as he's falling down. Like this was just a horrible idea to bring this guy out. I've tried to do it. It's not easy to even kick a 20-yarder.
Oh, no.
You ever tried it? I mean,
oh, yeah.
Kicking is hard. As much as we rag on these guys, and it's doesn't seem fair, but it's what you signed up for, I guess. But
you just get the one opportunity. I always wondered about that. The halftime of the college basketball games where they have them, go out and try half-court shots. Like I could hit the rim. I can, 9 out of 10 times, but in front of a crowd,
right.
I might just air melt and they'll be like, "Why didn't they get somebody that can know how to do this?"
Yeah, I would be terrible at the kicking part of it. After a sideline incident during the first half of the Ohio State game, their linebacker Kayvon Pope is his name. He was arguing with a coach, and they just said, "You got to go to the locker room," and they escorted him to the locker room. Once he got there, he started tweeting out really crappy things about Ohio State football and how he had just quit. He quit during halftime of the Ohio State Akron game.
Yeah, this was after last week. Ryan Day took the play calling duties away from the defensive coordinator. So there's some major problems defensively there for Ohio State. Now, they did hold Akron to 7, and that's the weird part about it, right? Why would you quit in the middle of the Akron game? What's got you so worked up that, this is basically a bye week for you?
Maybe he was thinking, because if I'm not playing against Akron, how bad am I? I can't even get on the field in a 59-7 game. What's wrong with me? I think I'll quit on Twitter. Bowling Green, they beat Minnesota. It's the biggest loss against the spread. 30.5. I was thinking it was 31. It's 30.5 as a favorite since 2012 in college football.
That is a long time and very embarrassing. PJ Fleck was getting his due, I guess, on Twitter. Everybody was piling on.
Yeah.
And they paid $1 million for Bowling Green to go in and win that one.
We always do that, don't we?
It makes you feel a little funny.
How much do we pay them to come beat us?
If it's $500,000, you feel a lot better. But
That's
if it's $1 million,
it's a damn $1 million. But that was a big upset win. At least he took the blame for it. But it does make you feel a little bit better about Nebraska's chances at Minnesota this year.
Yeah, it does. I think that's a team that's going to, again, be kind of, unless they can run right over you, you'll be in that game. They'll just wait for you to make the mistake, which Nebraska might do, but Tanner Morgan might do too. He had 2 interceptions in that game.
Do you think the Big Ten does have a college football playoff contender?
I think so. I think, the winner of the Ohio State Penn State game certainly going to be in it. A one-loss Iowa type of thing could kind of play out. But, mostly probably from Penn State, Ohio State.
Yeah, I don't buy Iowa, but I think Penn State, Ohio State, still in it as far as they're concerned for the college football playoff. Brian Kelly for Notre Dame is the winningest coach in Notre Dame history. He's at 106 ahead of Ara Parseghian and Newt. Thank you.
It's a Newt.
Along with Lou Holtz. Is that amazing? Because he doesn't seem like he's close to those coaches. As far as
No, he's been there a longer time than it seems like. He's not, he hasn't won national titles like those coaches have, so he's not the greatest in history, but he's won more.
And they always win 9-10.
Yeah.
I mean, he always wins a lot of games, it feels like. I don't think they'll make the college football playoff this year, though.
They might. They're that sort of team. This is the type of year where one of those teams could do it.
I guess you never know. Happy hour is next. I'm next with Nick and Rico. See ya.
Experiencing increased body fat, low sex drive, lack of energy, or general fatigue? Vitalize Health offers testosterone replacement therapy and peptide therapy to boost hormone levels and build muscle mass. Call Vitalize Health today at 402-413-0717 or go online to vitalizehealthne.com.
Hi, this is Kurt, your shop manager at A1 Automotive here in downtown Lincoln. My promise to you is this: you won't find another automotive repair facility that genuinely cares about you and your vehicle. Our service is outstanding and our customer service is better. Please give me a call for all your automotive repair questions and needs. Call me at 402-477-4660. We were built on small town values, and that shows in